All right, hello everybody. We are live. Hi. Hope everybody is doing well today. What day? What day even is it? It's a Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday for me. Thursday night. Hope everybody is having and has had a fine Thursday, or whatever day it might be for you. We're back finally, yet again. We're ready to continue on with our second session of Roadwarden, which was very enjoyable last time, even if it did murder my voice a little bit. But we're going to get back into it. Really show my voice what for. Because, oh boy, there is a lot of reading in this. None of this is voice acted, so it's all up to me. Last time I was pretty impressed with it. The writing wasn't anything, quite on the level of some of the games it's compared to, like Disco Elysium or Planescape Torment. But it does have a fair amount of dialogue like those, and it does have the, I don't know, kind of like the dialogue options / tree that they have, which is very nice. Seems extremely replayable. Also very nice. Especially because we are on a 40 in-game day time limit to apparently become the best road warden ever, which I do not think we're going to accomplish because I have no idea what I'm doing or why I decided to become a road warden. Aside from selecting that one option, you're able to choose from a bunch of different backstory options, and I believe we chose the one that was like, well, our life used to be shit, and we kind of wanted to do something completely different and forget our past, and that is why we are ruling the roads, trying to keep people safe from monsters and whatever other dangers may exist out there for the fantasy world travelers. Oh, let's see here. Let's I guess let's just load back into it here. I know last we left off, we were in a sort of like an abandoned village that had been kind of destroyed. There are rumors of 8 men that run havoc there, as well as I think there might be like goblins that live in one part. We didn't encounter either of those, but we encountered someone who had a weapon up against us, and it seems like they were just a scavenger who ended up wanting some help. We're going to attempt to help them, I guess, and thus be rewarded with either some of the in-game currency, dragon bones, or a jar of their pee, which was offered to us. That pea supposedly keeps the 8 men away. I don't know what we're going to choose, but I guess we'll figure that out once we get there, assuming we can successfully do this whole thing. All right, let's okay, all right. Let's check the time here. We got 10 hours before dusk, so we've already explored the town square. That's where we found the scavenger inside one of the buildings. We haven't looked around the northern gate, so let's go do that. I want to look around the northern gate. The paths here have almost been reclaimed by grasses. To your east and west, you see shadowy alleys behind damaged buildings. Alright, I take a closer look at the gate. Pushed or pulled, it doesn't move an inch. Someone has spread dirt and rocks both underneath and around it, seemingly to keep the planks stuck in the ground. I approach the nearby tree. You don't find anything worth picking. The half-dead quinces have maggots crawling under their skins. You wonder which part of this meal is more tempting for the dark-winged birds sitting among the branches, the flesh of the fruits or of the worms. Quinces are rarely eaten without having a chance to blet. You can safely guess that they were meant to be dried or to add taste to cookies or hard drinks. After a few moments, you realize that the bottom part of the tree just above the ground is partially charred. Someone must have opposed a torch here, but the wet wood didn't burst into flames. Alright, I look into the well. It's filled up with soil and you find nothing interesting about the area around it. Alright, I want to open the gate. You should take a look at the other side to be sure it's even possible, especially since it may take a couple hours without proper tools. Alright, let's go somewhere else. Alright, it may be better to leave or at least stay away from the village for the rest of the day. Let's see. Alright, I don't think we've done these. I inspect the clearing in the west of the village. The meadow is lush and colorful and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes, you lead danger with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely planted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals. Though cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across a couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns into a wild forest. In the east, you see a road leading north. Alright, let's leave the clearing. I inspect the fields to the southwest. You're surrounded by what looks like a field plowed in late autumn, disturbed by hundreds of rains and snowfalls. There's a few clumps of grass and wheat, but a place like this one, abandoned for years, should already have turned itself into a green Leah? A barren field. Maybe it was overused, but you would still expect the weeds to sprout. A curse? The path leading west from here ends at the edge of the field, shifting into a meadow, then a forest. Alright, I don't have a way to investigate. The pain in your stomach slows you down. Where do you want to go? Alright, I inspect the pasture to the southeast. You don't find a single sign of the livestock that lived here in the past. Any bones, horns, antlers, or dung have already been devoured by the wilderness. The pasture ends at the river. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. What are the chances that a herd of defenseless animals could get there and survive? The breach in the southern fence wasn't made by some brute force. You find axe cuts in the spots that were ultimately broken away. After all these years, there are no tracks that you could follow. Alright, well, looks like we just have a small portion of the abandoned village, or the ruined village area, that we have yet to inspect. But, Yeah, let's leave there. Oh, I don't remember what way we're supposed to go to get to the place the scavenger wants us to scout out. But let's I go to the road leading north from the village. All right, a little more is opened up. You're at the closed northern gate. The neglected road is partially overgrown. You hear a river to the east, separated by the lush meadow filled with crickets and rodents. I feel like every step into the village weakens me more. I should return another day. All right, let's go somewhere else. I head to the river. Ah, there we are. We're fully unlocked here. We got the full ruined village map. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple of grunts, they run north. The river is not too wide, yet unusually deep. The banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but you're tempted to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds, of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid their predators, a dance of life, completely unaware of your presence. You suddenly realize there's something else buried among the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out of the ground, a couple of stone axes and hoes. The wooden handles and a large wagon are covered with moss, but you recognize their shapes. Why would someone drop them in here? On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. Alright, I guess we're gonna turn back. Oh, you know what? Maybe we should do this. I'll spend some time setting up a fish trap at the bank. We did get that fish trap. You place the basket on the ground, then grab a bowl and start digging. Looking for a few larger worms, you bait the stick and push it inside the basket, locking it between the sides. Then cover the entrance with the lid. Tying it together takes you a few good moments, but will be easier later on. You attach the entire trap to a bush and push it into the stream far enough that it sinks entirely. Who knows how long it will take before something large enough swims inside. Still, it would be better not to wait for too long, otherwise the prey may die of hunger. I step away. Alright, I consider washing myself in the river. The living stream filled with fish and plants won't help you much. The oak ash soap you own can help you get cleaner. You need 3 pieces of bathing equipment to get more out of this place. All right, let's wash our shell. Let's wash on up. The kelp forest reaches to the water surface, surrounded by little creatures and the smell of river plants. You crouch by the bank and draw handfuls of water. I put on my clothes. All right. And we got 8.5 hours before dusk. Let's go ahead and save. We've done everything here, at least so far. I have no idea which way we should be going. Probably still not that way. So I guess we'll go to the left. You enter the wetlands with their many streams, ponds, and fish. Large birds run and fly between the gray, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For a human, it may be an unwelcoming and harsh realm, but the overwhelming swarms of insects proves that it's a realm full of life. The danger, with teeth and claws is hidden below the water's surface. All right, I step away from the banks. This plant shouldn't be alive, not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees of the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants, and it smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or on the shore. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Were these rocks originally as formless as they are now, or was there a point in time, centuries ago, when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Danger is peacefully observing the dark grass and slapping flies with its tail. Whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees this place through very different eyes. All right, yep, we got a big ass dead tree right in the center here. We got the altar here to the right. I smile and scratch the bottom of its neck. Go ahead. I'll look around for just a moment. You don't see any creatures nor humans. All right. Before we approach the altar, why not look into the water all around us in case there is danger there? I look into the water. You step cautiously. Without knowing how deep it gets, you had to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even a small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. All right, let's take a closer look at the roots. You kneel in front of one that's lying on the shore. It's brown, covered with hair that resembles that on your arm. When you touch it, it's moist, soft, and warmer than you'd expect. I do something with it? What are we doing with it? All right, let's try doing something with it. What do you try to do? Use your keyboard to name actions that you're interested in. Okay, so now we can actually type more text in. Example kick. If this is some kind of tree deity, I don't think we should be kicking it. Let's just stand up for now. I approach the altar. All right, new entry, swamp altar. There's clumped dirt in the uneven nicks, fused by years of wind and rains. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spider webs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. All right, let's try to make an offering before we start kicking the tree. What is your sacrifice? Example food. Oh, we have very little food rations. Can we do just like one food? You either can't do that or don't possess such an item. Maybe we just type food. You place any type of food you can find in your sack or on nearby plants, but none of them seem to make a difference. All right. All right. Let's just travel for now. I don't know what we can do there. Do we? Yeah. Okay. Good. We still have our food in the inventory. Hmm. All right. This I have. Okay. Traveling back to the inn is an hour and 45 minutes. We got 7.5 hours before dusk. All right. So I think we're still pretty good. Of course, I have no idea where we're supposed to go for the scouting to that one other town the scavenger wanted to go. So that dude might just be on his own. We're probably not going to end up helping him in the end. All right, let's go down this way, I guess. The shapes of mountains are cutting through the horizon. The water gets gradually less muddy. The cleaner it gets, the more animals you see. A family of deer blocks the road, resting and enjoying the cold water, which would be deadly for a human stomach. You consider riding around them through the sparse meadow, but your presence also causes them disquiet. Without much haste, they regroup and run east into the leafy forest. Alright, I travel forward. You've reached Hag Hills, the walls of stone that has blocked the city's grasp. The one well-established route through them leads through the valley where you found Tulia's camp. There are no maps of the highlands nor local tribes, only stories. The beaten path leads you by the garden beds of herbs and vegetables to an old yet not abandoned mine, hidden behind a massive door made of steel. There we are. There's the door that looks more wooden to me than steel, but you know. All right, I look around. There's no hitching rail for a mount. A bearded, skinny elder sits on a bench observing you like a sculpture, with his legs crossed and fingers interlocked on his abdomen. All right, how are we going to introduce ourselves? By being supportive and cordial, joking or witty, hiding our emotions, hinting at a threat, or being sad, tired, afraid, or hopeless. I suppose we'll just be friendly. Good day to you. Don't worry about my horse. I'll keep it away from your garden. Only worms, too stupid to understand me, would eat what's mine. You dismount and mention that your palfrey is no worm, but the man reprimands you with a thick accent. Let me see you whilst you speak. I can ne'er hear without magic, but I'll read your lips. He doesn't yell, but his voice reminds you of a combat instructor from the city. His face is wrinkled, but he sits straight, with beard and hair still carrying glimpses of fair blonde. He's tanned like a worker, and his eyes are blue and piercing, as if they belong to an infant. You're ne'er from here, and I will ne'er welcome a stranger in this refuge. Say what you're looking for and be gone. Oh, wait. The stories of my ancestors may reveal to me who this man is. You ponder about his unusual vigor and the unguarded garden. He may be a spiritual leader of a pagan community, most likely a spellcaster. Druids try to protect others from nature's wrath by teaching them to respect the laws of balance and restraint. Different tribes develop their own traditions, but you know that in this province, such priests prefer to be addressed as forest speakers. Okay, interesting. I explain who I am. What do you call him? All right. Okay, so is this the thing where we should be calling him what it mentioned forest speaker? Maybe we'll do that. He lowers his head and closes his eyes, taking slow, deep breaths, forcing you to wait in silence. The elder is tall, with long hair and a beard that was let loose a long time ago. His sandals are covered in dust, and you spot dirt on his clothes and skin. The woolen tunic and linen were made with care, decorated with colorful threads at the collar and sleeves. Now all the blues and greens have faded, and the fabric is held together by patches and stitches. He unfolds his hands and puts them on his lap, palms up. You know our customs. At least some of them. Those who know how to bow to the trees will never suffer from wild creatures. Oh, maybe that's what we... No, we can't sacrifice a bow, can we? I wait for him to look at me. The man stands up and approaches your palfrey. Without touching it, he observes its eyes, mane, stomach, and rear. Danger ignores this examination. My nose was right then. Asterion is dead, as are his plans. Such is the fate of all dreamers. He turns toward you with a grim look. Are you going to look for him? You nod. Why? If he's vanished into the fogs, there's no point in putting yourself in danger. What do you expect to find? Oh, let's see. It's a job. There's a reward for finding him. He may need my help. I need to know what kind of danger he encountered. If he's dead, I want people to know about it. If someone's tried to make him disappear, they deserve to face justice. Or there's no reason why you need to know that. Hey, he may need my help. Do you believe that? That man with no power over animals could disappear in the wilderness and survive for that long? He lets out a chilling laugh. I bow to your optimism. He doesn't actually bow. If what you say is honest, you and I could share our paths one day. Defending those can't help themselves is something that makes me whole. He takes a deep breath and smiles. You have some questions for me. I nod. His voice is warm. So, how can I help you? Have you met Asterion? He wanders among the garden beds, from time to time touching the leaves at hand. He was here more than once. He was ne'er one to stand aside and let events play out by themselves. The villagers from the north are sometimes in need of my assistance, and Asterion was serving them as messenger. He bends down and tears away a small, flowerless plant. He wanted to settle down among these roads, maybe to live freely. He had great plans and wanted to make this realm flourish, to rebuild the ruins, get rid of the brigands, and clear the trade route. I told him that the forest needs nay more people, and that this realm is too wild to feed and clothe everyone. His greed and dreams have eaten him, and now he is nay more. He pauses, and you can hear his heavy breathing, as if he's getting tired. He straightens up. And that's that, traveler. If you want to look for his shell, travel north. Far north. People there should know where he is. All right. We gotta go super north, apparently. I'll do that. He's observing your lips. Do you need anything else? Yeah, we got a lot of questions here. You're not done, buddy. What can you tell me about this place? Your eyes see what there's to know. People found copper in a cave. It's been abandoned for a long time, so we turned it into a shelter to stay close to the sacred tree and its altar. We're servants, my wife and I, and this place is nothing more than a servant's house. How can you survive in this place being all by yourself? His raised voice makes him sound like a preacher. One day, me and my wife will be but defenseless old people, but we've studied pneuma and leaves for many decades. I heal wounds and illnesses of humans and animals alike, and the beasts listen to our whispers. The holy seed lets our shells wait for death in strength. All right, what can you tell me about the peninsula? Ken? I've lived here almost a century, traveled both by the paths and through the wilderness. His voice becomes stronger and makes you think of a bard. But I will nae be your guide or teacher, and if there's anything I can wish for, 'tis that you will stay away from the woods. The creatures get angrier the more we take from them. They do nae listen to our warnings, and one day they'll bury us under a storm of claws and fangs. There will be nae soul to spare a tear after us. His eyes are as harsh as a hawk's, making him look like a priest who hears a child asking for honey on a day of ceremonial fasting. Do nae poke the hornet's nest. Do nae ride east and never use the path that runs through the heart of this land. That road was meant to save time, but brings only death. Be a servant, nae an overseer. Do nae try to bend this place to your will. He points at you and wags his finger after every word. Your will, anyone's will, is the key to danger, nae salvation. Alright, let's see. I thank him. These instructions are aligned with my own thoughts. I'm not going to be anyone's puppet. I need to take some risk to achieve my goals. I don't know, maybe we can listen to this guy. We have made our character also a pagan of sorts. I thank him. These instructions are aligned with my own thoughts. Do you need anything else? I've heard about some bandits. Were they bothering you? He strokes his beard, but then grasps it nervously. There are souls who steal from White Marshes, a village in the north. They would nae dare to show up here, but those brigands are brutes, simpletons. Ava, their leader, Glacia, listens only to force and will humiliate for the enjoyment of her band. She will nae be afraid of some lost Roadwarden. Okay, so she only listens to force and will humiliate us to entertain her fellow bandits. Okay, so when we talk to her, maybe we should use intimidate then. He lets go of his beard and lowers his head. She's drifted so far away from her old self, a kind, bright girl from Gale Rocks, loved by her parents, but now, do nae cross her, or she'll find you. Alright, can you tell me anything about the altar near the crossroads in the north? He smiles. 'Tis the tree that you should pay attention to, the true gift from the forest. It answers to our offerings and rewards us with its magnificent fruits. They heal both shell and soul and make anyone who eats them stronger than they ever were. We gather around this altar whenever the winter ends, and whilst it requires a painful sacrifice from us, it prepares one soul for the future that nothing else could. Alright, a painful sacrifice. Yeah, maybe we need to sacrifice our blood or something, I don't know. I want to know what happens to the village in the east. And I'm nae willing to tell you that. He raises his chin and his beard shakes. That shameful tale ought to be kept in the past for the sake of the living. Alright, he's not willing to speak with me about the ruined village. Alright, well, maybe someone else elsewhere can. What can you tell me about the druids? He strokes his beard gently. I will nae share our paths with strangers. We are of N for the people of Howler's Dell, and for the lands around it. He doesn't trust me enough to tell me about the druids. It seems like the path at the heart of the woods is quite dangerous. It has long and dark past, and already caught many souls of its builders. 'Tis paved with blood, and last 10 years have revealed it was all for nathing. Since the days of... He glances at you once again, surprising you with how shiny and lively the blueness of his eyes are. Of grand discord, the tribes of this land are locking themselves in their fields and houses, too afraid to leave them behind, too untrusting to meet other souls unguarded. 'Tis nae the first road to be claimed back by the wilderness, and will nae be the last. You ask if he has any tips on how to survive such a trip, and he tells you that it would be wiser to just avoid it, and then reaches to his pocket, grabs a leaf, and puts it in his mouth, chewing gently. Death may take many paths to a stranger, but the cats are the one enemy that is both as dangerous in its stealth as in combat. No human can fight it alone. If you see one of them, and it's nae too late, do nae provoke it. Make it wary, but nae scared. Look big, talk a lot, seek its action in its eyes. Alright, so I guess there be big cats in the forest. Alright, I'm looking for a job. I believe your goodwill, and I'm in need of your help. He gestures for you to follow him to the pond. 'Tis nae a dangerous task, but one that I can nae complete myself, and my spells are nae enough to ask animals to fetch for me. He speaks very slowly. At the northern coast you'll find Gale Rocks, a village of fishers. One of them is in my debt, and I want to collect what's mine. You want to ask him about this debt, but he doesn't look at you. He points at a shiny large fish with orange and golden scales that's swimming just nearby. This gorgeous creature is an empress carp, one of the few animals that thrive both in the seas and the lakes. I wait for him to look at me. You don't know where the man found the large worm that he now drops in the water, feeding his pet. Go to that place and find Photius. He's a young father, an ocean folk with scars on his neck, which he will nae hide. Ask for a male empress carp, but beware. I need it alive so it can mate with the one I have. He stands up and approaches you. I do nae sleep on dragon bones, but there's pneuma in my blood. I'll use some of it to heal your wounds, though nae more than once. That's fair. All right, I agree. I'm glad. The Empress Carp we have keeps our water clean of leeches, at least as much as it can. One more would help us greatly. Can I enter the cavern? I need a place to rest. Why would I allow a stranger to do such a thing? All right. Yeah, maybe if we bring that carp back, that'll get us enough trust to be able to enter the mine here. All right. I guess yeah, we should be heading north. What are we? 7 hours and 15 minutes before dusk. Okay. All right, let's head up north. You slow down. Among the shrubs, a small pack of dragonlings is feasting on the carcass of a gray auroch. One of them, with red feathers on its arm, straightens up and gives you a curious glance. Its head tilts left and right, forward and back. It screeches at you, but doesn't move forward and returns to its meal. You wonder what would happen if you were on foot. Would they let you satisfied with, all right, let's, from the top. Would they let you be satisfied with their prey, or would they run after you? But if so, for what reason? For now, you have enough space to move forward, yet stay safe. The powerful jaws break the monster's bones loudly, then bite off and swallow chunks of meat. All right, I ride forward, but keep my distance and look over my shoulder. The beaten road serves your palfrey well. The forest to your left becomes sparse and brighter, and there are dozens of human-made paths among the fruit-bearing trees. On your right, there's a large pasture with at least a dozen massive mouflons. 2 of them, already sheared, look comically small. Soon after that, you ride along a vast, flourishing fields filled with rye, still green, preparing itself patiently for the second harvest. The path ends with a massive wooden gate. The stone wall separating you from the glow of lights behind it isn't as tall as the roofs, but you can't imagine climbing to its top. There are pretty much no cracks, no missing bricks, a sign of many hours of labor, especially considering how massive the settlement is, as wide as a city district. The birds and monkeys are now just a distant echo, replaced with the sounds of carts, running, hammers, saws, laughter, and shouts. Finally, maybe I can rest here. A young man is leaning against the closed gate, covered by its shadow. He's young, tanned, and has a short, elegantly trimmed red beard. Beneath the green gambeson he wears an expensive tunic decorated with colorful trim. From his arm hangs a steel helmet, though the metal is so thin that it's mostly made of wool and leather. He moves into the light and takes on the posture of a disciplined soldier, not a mercenary. He's standing upright with his chin up. There are 2 weapons on the ground leaning on the wooden beams of the gate, an axe made of steel and a wooden club. He doesn't reach for either. You dismount smoothly, still having some vigor left. Danger holds its tail high. A narrow path leads north toward 2 field workers, one with a hoe and one with a pitchfork. They wave to you. You can't see their faces, but their clothes are simple, gray pants and vests made from hemp and wool. All right, I wave back. Why not? Why not? They talk for a bit, looking toward you and pointing at your mount, and then walk away, disappearing behind the wall's corner. The guard smiles, yet avoids your eyes and has to clear his throat before he speaks. Welcome, traveler. If you're nae here to make trouble, Howler's Dell welcomes you. We have the whitest flower there is. When he bows, you realize it's a well-practiced performance. If it's new garments you're looking for, you can order everything you need right here, in all colors, shapes, and sizes. Capes, boots, vests, robes, or if you're yourself a master of the needle, I can assure you that we have the fabric you're looking for. His act is over, and he glances at your mount in a moment of silence. His eyes get wider as he observes it with a childlike fascination. This is danger. It helps me patrol the roads. You can pet its side if you want, but no sudden movements. He follows your instructions. Even though your palfrey pays no attention to the man's careful touch, the guard grins widely. I'm Vertigo, your new Roadwarden. I want to see your mare. A city folk, aye? The mare is busy, but I'll ask her. Give us a moment to let you in. He knocks at the gate, which is then pulled inward by two other guards, a man and a woman, wearing their own gambesons, similarly green, but tailor-made to match their figures. The nearby buildings are simple houses made of wooden beams and covered with thatch, while the storehouse is even more modest, with a roof made of planks. The watchtower has a ladder made of ropes and sticks. No stairs. Just give me a moment. The guard strides away before he finishes the last word. The others close the gate behind you and observe your mount carefully. Your eyes run east to a humming creek running through the center of the village. All right, I wait for the return of the messenger. Hey, Dog Nozzle, welcome on in. How you doing today? This finest of Thursdays, at least for 52 more minutes for me. All right, let's see. Calming sound, that's Howler's Creek. The guard, like most of the locals, is taller than you. Wide but shallow. There's nae been a flood in years. Pa told me there used to be nae bridges. Neighbors crossed it with their boots in their hands, and 'tis clean like a raindrop, but there are nae many fish. Oh shit, there's two people here. I'm just gonna do the same dumb voice I did for the guard. We're the cleanest village in the north, her companion chuckles brightly. When the guard returns, he's still alone. She can nae come now. A friend of mine is in labor, aye? The mayor wants to be there when the child arrives, but I was asked to show you the village. I nod. Fine. He approaches the watchtower. Tie your mount here. We'll keep the kids away. Most of the neighbors are getting ready to celebrate. Once you're done, he grabs the rope ladder. The view from up here is gorgeous. I like this. I nod and think of my knife. If it's a trap, I'll get him first. Oh my god. Oh my god. I kind of really want to do just like the evil shitheel piece of shit replay of this. All right, I climb after him. Even though the ladder swings in all directions, the guard gets to the top quickly, like a monkey climbing up creepers. You, on the other hand, need to stop and wait for the ladder to calm itself. When you join the man on the wooden platform, you're a bit dizzy. He's leaning on the wooden parapet, observing the area with a smile. I look around. See? There's nae place like Howler's Dell. The guard points in every direction, giving you no time to contemplate. For the next few minutes, he describes the fields and their crops, the flocks in the pastures and the shepherds inspecting the fences, the ancient garden of trees and bushes larger than the village itself, the sunlight dancing on the stream to its own tune. If you are to believe everything he describes, this place has access to everything in abundance. The sweetest honey, the most fragrant bread, the softest wool, and the beer? 'Tis excellent. He sounds like a city merchant who's trying to sell an old house. Ah, an old haunted house, I bet. Our guy is just always thinking of his knife. It's true, it's true. I mean, this is, I guess, still our first day on the job as a road warden. So I guess we would be kind of untrustworthy and constantly thinking about our awesome knife. We'll continue being nice, and no wonder he's so proud. Why wouldn't he be? They've tamed this scrap of land and live in comfort. The islet in the middle connects both parts of the village. According to the man, the northern gate is hardly ever open as it leads nowhere now. Near the eastern gate, there's the Ape Ale Inn, where you can find a bed and victuals. And there's the stall where Akaikios rewards our work unless we annoy him with pointless talk. He lets out a chuckle. On the opposite side of the creek, there's another white house. It belongs to Bion, the best clothier in the north. The priests live in the southeast near the wall, but they do not talk to strangers. You also hear about the hunter, the cooper, the fisher, the miller. The pie maker lives with his sister, the baker. The smith and her husband, the carpenter, live with their kids. Some of the larger buildings could accommodate 2, maybe even 3 generations at once. There could be more than 100 dwellers here. He considers stopping his speech, but he suddenly points at the islet again. There, you see? The mayor's coming, the one wearing purple. You're free to join her, traveler. I nod and climb down. You try to get down quickly, but 2 steps are enough to make you sure that it's a bad idea. You wait for the ladder to find its balance. You're relieved when you touch the ground again. You untie your palfrey and follow the guard. You pass a small pasturage surrounded by a wooden fence, a few loose chickens, and a tethered boar. The fancier buildings are covered with whitewash coating and surrounded with vegetables, herbs, and flowers. The bridges are wide enough to carry even a wagon, but for danger, walking on the wooden beams is far from pleasant. The islet is empty, but you notice an empty stall painted with the shapes of colorful flowers. I walk over the second bridge. This town has a guy whose whole job is making pies. Hell yeah, the pie maker. Gotta have a pie maker. Which is kind of funny because they also mentioned a baker. So does the baker also make pies, or are they banned from making pies? Only the pie maker can make pies. Along the entire path, you notice more and more people observing you, smiling, or casually greeting you as they're focused on their own tasks. Finally, you reach the main square. A large tree grows in the center, surrounded by dark water, held together by a thin wall, perfect for sitting. But the smell coming from the liquid makes you think of rotten eggs. The plant reminds you of the tree you saw in the south, next to the swamp altar, which we still need to figure out what we need to sacrifice to get the good stuff. In the north, you see the Ape Ale Inn. Judging by the tables, stools, and benches outside of it, it's open for guests. Well, why wouldn't it be? That inn would be out of business if it wasn't open to guests. The villagers are chatting and dining loudly, and you catch their curious glances. On the side of the dining area, the merchant is arguing with a tall, broad-shouldered worker. An old man is sitting by himself eating a pie with a walking stick leaning against the table. A young woman is cleaning the empty mugs in the creek, speaking with a man at least twice her age, maybe her father. All right, I need a spot to tether Danger. There's a wide wooden roof right next to the gate that shelters carts, crates, and sacks. You move your mount next to a donkey to a beam placed here just for this purpose. Without a moment's hesitation, Danger starts to chew on a nearby haystack. You have some time to make sure it doesn't struggle with your bundles. You return to the inn. All right, I look for the mare and approach her. She's sitting on a chair with a 4-year-old boy on her knees. She's holding his hand gently, showing him how to eat gruel from a bowl. It's not a cheat meal, though. You spot nuts, berries, and milk, and the added honey makes it yellowish. The kid is clean and quiet, and once he notices your arrival, he crams his mouth with a spoonful of oats. Now, love, the mare titters. Do not get distracted. She rubs the meal off his face. A few more spoons and you'll go help Papa in the kitchen, eh? She gives you a radiant, though apologetic smile, then turns her attention back to her companion. I observe her more closely. Her long full-sleeve linen dress must have been dyed once in blue and once in red to achieve its dark fancy purple, which would draw looks even in Havlevin. From her left shoulder hangs a green woolen cape as thin as a shawl. The brown belt on her waist has a large steel buckle that portrays a running deer with unrealistically large antlers growing in all directions like tree branches. Unlike her tribesfolk, she's pale, with powdered and rouged cheeks, and her lips match her outfit, though they're a bit closer to wine red. The thick gray strands in her long blonde hair look more like a fashion choice than a result of aging. Her eyes are the color of her cape, keen and vigorous. She's shorter than most people around, though would still be the tallest woman in most of the northern settlements. While she's around 40, her slim hands add fragility to her appearance, even though her posture is upright. Her legs confidently crossed and her delicate voice assertive. She makes plenty of gestures, but her shoulders hardly ever move. Okay, I gotta make a note here. So this is just like our quick observation of her. This all feels like I would literally have to stare, like my eyes moving all across someone's body, just staring for many minutes in complete silence, creeping them the fuck out. Like that and like I know it's not just something in this game. Like this kind of shit happens in books, you know, fiction books all the fucking time. Like maybe I'm just bad at observing. I don't know. Can we romance the mare? Maybe, yeah, we are studying her quite closely. Maybe we are, like, hey, Mayor, I'm the new Roadwarden. Turned on.
Wow!
Yeah, that's right. All right, I wait for as long as it takes. I need no, who? Do we need an invitation to sit down with the mayor, though? Maybe. All right, I wait for as long as it takes. After a few more minutes, the boy lets out a gentle cough, and after a pat on the back, the mayor puts him on the ground. You did a great job, love, but now I need to speak with our guest. Darling, she addresses one of the inn workers, a girl close to 15. Take him to father, will you? Her tone suddenly gets firmer, leaving no hint of a question or suggestion. Yes, Ma, she responds. Both her hair and her eyes are nothing like those of her brother, and neither of the kids resemble their mother. So, we have a Roadwarden again. Please, sit down. She vaguely shows you the palm of her open hand, letting you pick any place you want. Alright, since I'm her guest, I sit on a bench next to her. I sit on the stool opposite her. I'm here as a trade partner. Shit. Is this my social anxiety simulator here? Where do I sit? I'm here to talk to the mayor. I don't know where to sit. Like, oh, shit. Come on, game. Just sit me down. Just sit me down somewhere. Why does this have to be a choice? I mean, am I her guest? I just showed up in town uninvited. This is making me think I don't understand the social dynamics of choosing a seat. Right? I mean, I guess, like, I think in real life, I would probably always sit, like, opposite. Like, kind of like similar to, like, you know, if I'm at the, like, a restaurant with someone. Like, you sit opposite so you can see them and talk to them. Which also makes me think of that one scene from the movie Fargo, when Frances McDormand is at that like hotel restaurant with that guy she knew once years ago, and like he just instantly sits down in like the booth right next to her, and she's all like awkwardly like, you know, maybe go to the other side so you know I can actually see you when we're talking or whatever. Oh god. All right, you know, let's just do that. We'll sit on the stool opposite of her. I'm here as a trade partner. You have a good look at the inn's front door, leading to a cellar-like ground floor. It's dark with crates and barrels covered with fruits, nuts, and vegetables. The actual inn is upstairs, but the only people who go in or out are the workers, most of whom are teenagers. The mayor observes your outfit carefully, maintaining a polite though cool smile. Once your eyes meet, she hardly ever looks away. I'm sure you're hungry. My husband will bring us something soon. I appreciate it. No food is free, or I'm not hungry, thanks. Also, she's clearly married. She has my husband. So I guess romancing is probably off the table here. All right, you know, we'll continue being polite. I appreciate it. We are... Oh, our nourishment is 0. So we probably should eat. We're starving. I appreciate it. Do they mention it? Hunger makes me peevish, and the day is too nice for that. She taps her chest and looks at a flock of birds that fly above you loudly, heading south. As we're waiting, be so good as to help me understand something. Even if you're but a mercenary, I can nae imagine a single reason for you to choose this realm for your wardening, nae so long after Asterian's disappearance. There's nae glory or treasures to find here. Her pale fingers form a tent on her stomach, then clasp, leaving the 4 fingers pointing at you. You were sent here by the merchants. They want the peninsula. Okay, actually, let me archive. Yeah, so is this the person we should be intimidating? We gotta get all the way back up to the ruined village. Oh, we can't go that far up. Shit. Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll save anyways. I guess we haven't had a chance to eat yet after the Barf Hex village. Oh no, yeah. Once I ended up leaving there, we we just kind of continued exploring. Although now we only have 5.5 hours before dusk. All right, all right, we'll try being friendly at this moment. I present Havlevin's interest as an opportunity. You introduce yourself and touch on the more obvious sides of the potential deal with the guild and the city itself, the troops, their pay, and the patrols they would establish, the overview of taxes. Trade routes would bring new life to this place. You try to sound warm. It's a win-win. Throughout your speech, the mayor observes you patiently without interruptions. I see, she finally responds. As she observes your palfrey, she twists her deer buckle left and right. If it was that simple, I'd be eager to applaud, but it never is that simple, is it? Her eyes fill up with melancholy despite her smile. I appreciate that you're coming with a carrot, not a stick. But when it comes to the guild, there's always a catch. Her accent is now almost identical to the one used in the city. The only thing I remember hearing about the mayor is that we shouldn't ask where her money comes from. Oh, right, that was from the last stream, yeah, okay. I forgot about that until you mentioned it, actually. But yeah, like, earlier on today's stream, we talked to, shit. Can I not remember? Like an hour and 15 minutes ago? Who were we talking to? It was either the scavenger still, or we met this, like, druid guy outside of a mine. Oh yeah, and that guy wants us to bring him a fish. Oh well, we're here now. I guess it doesn't matter. Let's see, what sort of catch? I'm telling you everything I know. I can't ask you to trust me, but I'm not hiding anything. You don't have to trust anyone blindly. The negotiations can satisfy both sides. You're speaking from experience. Maybe we'll go with that. You're speaking from experience, I assume. Do I really sound that confident? She titters and waves her hand by her chin, as if you just offered her a compliment. I've seen such negotiations during my studies, though. I can't say I took an active part in them. Let me show you an example. She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another, then leans forward and rests on her elbows, allowing her hands to freely make gestures. You make a deal with a settlement, flour and wool in exchange for coin and tools. You send the first traders, and they imply that you're ready to pay more for, let's say, parchment. Months later, you want no more rye, just the parchment and wool. We can nae butcher any more mouflons, the locals say. Don't worry, you answer. We'll send you a small flock. Just turn one of your fields into a pasturage. And she pretends to speak as different characters. Her voice comically shifts as she has no issue switching between accents. Unlike me. I encourage her with a kind smile. She swings her hand above the table. Another year goes by, and while there's more parchment, the village lacks some crops. The tribe needs not just tools and coins, plenty of coins, but also seeds, and the guild is not satisfied. Sending our wagons costs a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more mouflons, and to sell us their cheese. And guess what? With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms like someone a third her age. Turns out that the village can't say no anymore. They lack supplies, seeds, and land. They can't refuse. She tittered. I think she likes us. Let's see. I nod, she's right, and it's better not to say anything stupid. Don't you think the city would see value in keeping you strong, fewer risks for them? I smile. I have no doubt that a smart leader like yourself is going to protect her people from these games. I mean, I want to go with her being right because, I mean, she kind of is. People up top don't give a shit about the people underneath them. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Fucking merchant guild's gonna be all like, we need this, and this. I know you're starving, but hey, you bring us this. Pizza party! Pizza party, yeah! Here's some cheap shit-ass pizza. Pizza party. I nod, she's right, and it's better not to say anything stupid. The pause doesn't linger for long. I see we understand each other. Let's finish the introductions. I'm Theus, one of the keepers of the Apale Inn and the mayor of Howler's Dell. I assume it would be convenient for you to take my answer back to Havlevin. She wonders for a moment. Say, when could we expect the first caravan? After winter? Okay. All right. This is Theus. Dog Nozzle was right. This is the person we should not be asking about money. The one that I feel like we should use intimidation against is not this person. That is the I'm remembering now who I was thinking of is the brigand leader lady. It depends on what you can sell and what you want in return. While the conversation goes on, the food gets served. Hey, look at this! We just jumped up 2 nourishments. The refreshing aroma of roasted mutton, covered with a thick sauce made of mint, parsley, and honey, tempts you to bite in right away. The juices are sinking into the round trencher, a plate made of simple brown bread. There's also a small bowl filled with chopped red radishes and a sliced boiled egg, and a mug filled with cold buttermilk? Are we drinking buttermilk? All right, fine. It's all brought by a few young people, all of them referring to the mayor as their mother. And in the end, the innkeeper himself shows up to wish you a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and a not-so-clean apron made of hemp. He politely introduces himself as Eric's, and after confirming you won't get sick from what he prepared, he leaves you and his wife to your conversation. Theus tears the meat into smaller pieces, then eats slowly, often expressing her enjoyment with a hum. All right. Who here has had mutton before? I have not. It's seems to be a common food in fantasy writing. Definitely something I have always heard mentioned. Never had it myself. A nice radish and hard-boiled egg salad. Oh, God. I don't mind myself a radish though. Not something that I would ever eat by itself, I guess, but like some radishes with meat, I think is actually pretty good. Meanwhile, we get to the important stuff. Sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grain and vegetables, with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly. So we don't need your guards on our walls, but a lone road warden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol the paths, maybe even the heart of the woods. That's what we'd expect in return. You're not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Crispus. You vaguely recognize the name of this tailor shoemaker, but you've never earned enough to pay him for as much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel and bronze. We lack alloys for sickles and scythes. She then repeats a question about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild is not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Understandable, but you won't find much in the other tribes. They have barely enough to survive, even after they trade for our crops, for we have the only decent soil in this realm. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while Creek sells meat and wood. Actually, if you haven't been in Creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping their roads safe. White Marshes, on the other hand, as well as Old Pagos, are close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up, walks to another table, and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With a trembling voice, he thanks her, then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down, wipes her hand into a clean cloth, adjusts the folds of her cape, and once again crosses her legs. So tell me, Vertigo, how's Havlevin? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Alright, We can either say, things stay humble, but are starting to look brighter, and the harbor is full of life, and the kids grow strong. Or, sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bed, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. Or, it's far from great. Children who lost their parents during the war have no trade in hand, and there's not enough settlements to send them away. Many people are unable to prosper. The 2 and 3 seem to be the most realistic. Maybe we'll go with the happy medium. Well, not so happy medium. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bed, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. Yeah, that's right. Time to eat the rich. And I was afraid it was lost to hunger. Her chuckle is trimmed with scorn. Good to know I was wrong. When the invasion started, some merchants were cheering in their houses, happy that they would sell out all the blades and food they had stored. Can you believe it? This panic will make us rich. She imitates the voice of a pompous man. That's why when the southerners reached the villages, they found almost nothing to eat. She sighs. Staying in a remote peninsula truly can be a blessing. She pauses, hesitant to go on, then shakes her head slightly. Well, we can't change the past. How can I help you, Vertigo? So, where do you get all your money? Where'd you get all your money, lady? All right, I guess let's go down the old list here. I'm looking for Asterion. She stares you in the eyes, then turns toward Danger. Is your palfrey a mare? We have 2 jacks. Could use some mules. Oh. Interesting. Oh, so we can actually choose what our horse is. A stallion, or it is a mare. Or to not let her change the conversation. All right. It is, but I need it to stay strong and healthy. Right. There's no time for the romances of... draft? Is that pronounced draft animals? Anyways, moving on. It would take almost a year, correct? It was all just a thought. When her eyes return to you, they regain their sharpness. I'd rather avoid long talks about that man. Let him remain as part of the past spring. Since you're asking about him, I can only assume he was indeed sharing his goal with you. I won't deny that. Yet you're already different from him. I like it when travelers don't try to sell me bluegrass. Seeing your frown, she waves it off. It's just a saying. His words were stronger than his deeds, and he's no longer welcome here. All right. I don't know how, Is it quite often that people come into town trying to sell bluegrass albums? What are his wrongdoings? If you have to know, he failed and won't get a second chance. He was meant to escort Egidia, a daughter of mine, who were betrothed in Gale Rocks. She was a great archeress, and the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through, right into their trap. She touches her deer-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A Roadwarden worth their gruel should know better. He can fight with a blade, but my girl, she never had a chance. She sighs and looks at the gate. He disappeared soon after his pitiful attempt at apologizing to me, and we closed our doors behind him for good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. Did you ever find your daughter? For a few breaths, her eyes seek something in your face. Her words are careful yet hesitant. She's with the Fogs now. The goblins were after food, so they carried her shell away. One day she's going to charge at our walls, awoken and empty. Even though she was a bit mawkish, her heart was strong and patient. She listened to people, was ready to help them and to cry with them. I could tell you stories, but what for? Let the dead rest. Any ideas where I can look for them? She adjusts her cape with an annoyed shrug. Try asking for him in the north. He spent most of his time between White Marshes, Gale Rocks, and creeks. Here, he wasn't that eager to share his plans. Does that mean the daughter is undead now? Yeah, probably. I think last stream it was kind of mentioned that it takes some time, but something with the fogs at night seems to kind of like raise the dead, is what I'm gathering. And also what I'm assuming deals us damage if we're outside at night. Or at least out in the wilderness. Since, I mean, when we stayed at that soldier encampment, we were technically outside, but... why did you let him leave? He didn't do anything, well, forbidden by our laws. He was simply stupid and cannot be trusted. But this isn't Havlevin. We have no rich folk to dread. We treat each other fairly. Lost in her thoughts, she rubs the neckline of her dress. One good thing I can say about him is that he didn't try to justify his decisions or to avoid the consequences. But I'd rather have him prove first he can do what's asked of him. Alright, let me go ahead and throw a quick save in here. And a quick save up here. I am going to take a quick restroom break. And we'll be back in about a minute or so, and we'll continue right on. But I just want to take a moment, use the restroom, refresh my liquid here, and because I really need it for all the talking this game is making me do. But yeah, anyways, be right back. Alrighty, we are back. All right, let's get back into this here. Still talking to the mayor here. All right, you have quite a big family. She titters weakly. At one point, there were 12 kids living in our house. 9 girls, 3 boys. They come and go as it should be. A few are already with the forest, but most are all grown now, even started their own families. She looks away at a girl wiping spilled milk with a wet cloth. To be perfectly clear, they aren't exactly our children. It's a custom of our village for the mayor to look after the orphans. Thankfully, Eric's has a big heart and much more patience than I do. As she speaks, her smile widens. Alright, thanks for the help. I wonder, back in Havlevin, did you spend any time in Backwood Corner? It used to be this dark, dirty alley with muggers working even in daylight. I stayed there with Octavia the miller in exchange for doing chores for her. She had this small wooden hut. Alright, we got some options here. We can either say, since the war, even the soldiers have avoided that street. People say it's a home for thugs. Or, you wouldn't recognize it. It's now a respectable street with one of the fanciest inns in the city, the Apple and the Boar. Or, it would make you feel like you're in the old days. The Boarhead Inn is almost 50 years old now. Or, there's no such street anymore. It fell to a great fire. So I guess this is like we're actually doing like it is kind of neat. Some of these options that come up like this, where we're actually actively like building the world, depending on what we say, is pretty cool. Yeah, I think I like it's unrealistic to imagine that it would. Well, I mean, I don't want it to have been taken over by the rich, and like have it, you know, driving like the poor people out. I think we'll go with this one. Let's I guess have it still kind of exist. It would make you feel like you're in the old days. The Boarhead Inn is almost 50 years old now. You explain that while the place is still called the bad part of the city, the Boarhead makes good coin selling beer and ale to students, mercenaries, and adventurers. The whole land may turn wild one day, you quote one of the local traders, but Backwood Corner will stay the same. She sighs with relief and puts her left hand on her hip. Comforting, don't you think? That there are these places, these dark corners, where you can always find what you expect. Living there, though? That sounds awful and always was. She chuckles. I bet the thugs of my youth are no longer around, so I wouldn't count on them giving me a free pass. But I wish I could have a chance to drink a mug or two with the innkeeper once more. The old lady was always too good to stay in that muck. All right, let's skip past this one for now. Have you heard of the necromancers in the north? She taps her finger on the table. Yes, I have. After you ask her to tell you more, she seems to regain her confidence. You mean White Marshes for sure. I don't know all that much about what's happening there. We avoid their lands, if we can. She frowns. I shouldn't gossip about it with strangers. We can talk about it on another occasion. Okay, here's the thing we should not be asking. You seem to be fairly well off, even more so than other people in the village. What's your secret? Although I am curious. I mean, you have someone telling me not to ask someone this, and then you present the question, and I want to ask. Oh yeah, weren't we trying to find the Necromancer village? Yep. That's we're kind of on our way. We're finally kind of heading up north after going west for a little bit. But we probably, I don't think we'll make it there before we have to rest anyways. And we're probably not going to really help the scavenger out because I don't know where that one town is. And we're running out of time. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah. We're just we're doing the video game thing where we're just exploring and having all the conversations like every step of the way. Slowly gathering other side quests instead of doing any of our jobs. Let's see. Tell me about Howler's Dell. It is what it seems like. The greatest village in the far north. She raises her hand and makes an inviting gesture. Though I hope to still improve this and that. She winks at you, but is suddenly interrupted by the pained cry of a little boy who hurt his knee during a fall. As an amused elder tries to calm him down, the mayor shrugs it off and titters, then meets your eyes again. Life's good here. We have what we need and a lot of what we want. Building on top of more than 12 generations of hard work and bravery. She spends a good few minutes telling you about mouflons, wheat, rye, hemp, cheese, and wool, proud of every glimpse of prosperity. Whenever she mentions an artisan, shepherd, or farmer, she doesn't miss a chance to mention how significantly she improved their conditions. She also omits some topics. You hear of no tales, songs, ancestors, rituals, or days of prayer. It's like listening to a tax collector. Only at the very end of her speech does she mention the wisdom of the elders, now kept in the teachings of the druids, who help her guide those who trust her. They heal our wounds and our gardens, she explains, but then changes the topic to all the fruit trees, hares, and nuts in the woods. Okay, so I'm assuming that also has something to do with her riches. Some kind of pagan magic is going on here. Once she's done with it, I nod politely. Tell me, how do people dress in the city these days? Is it similar to what we have here? Before the war, the merchants were wearing those really long dresses and robes, way too long for my taste. They got mud stains after every rain, and I see no reason to keep shoes completely hidden. All right, looks like we got some more light world building here that we get to choose. The greatest village in the far north. Geez, lady, how about a little modesty? Hey, Dog Nozzle, you're talking to the mayor. She gonna be throwing you into that into the stocks in the town square there. People are gonna be throwing apples at you for thinking any other town is better than this place. All right, we got our options. Not anymore. There's always a shortage of fabric. Most people wear tunics like in the old days. Or, for years, there was not enough hemp and wool at hand, so people have started to wear furs again. Or, as far as I can tell, many folks wear headgear. Or, I'm not sure, I don't pay much attention to fashion. We'll go with not anymore. There's always a shortage of fabric. Most people wear tunics like in the old days. At least we can hope that if the visitors arrive, we won't stand out much. She laughs, but also adjusts her dress, drawing her attention to its superb quality. And who knows, maybe our little village here is going to help those unfortunate clothiers. I'm sure we could spare a couple of sheets of fabric. Alright, I was in the ruined village south from here. Her tense gaze shifts into an awkward click of her tongue as she leans away from you. I don't even want to think about their tragic fate. No one can negotiate with the wrath of herds. A long pause, and I better not find you upsetting my neighbors with these sad questions. It was a challenging time for all of us, a wound we won't forget. What do you think about the scavenger who was here before? Ah, he's still alive, she says with distaste. He brought us some news from the north and paid off his debt to us, but he's an idler and a prattler. Drinks, too. The farther away he stays from here, the better. I was in Pell to the north. The innkeeper feels uneasy about Glacia's band. Ah, yes, Glacia is the lead of the brigands. When you mentioned the raids on the northern villages, her eyes narrow. Are you sure? It's the first I've heard about it. Glacia has been around since years back, but she's not much of a nuisance. I'm just a messenger. He's asking for you to join forces with him. Well, I can't give you my answer. I won't ask our hunters to endanger their lives in the pursuit of some gossip. I could ask around, learn more about this. She sighs with exaggerated relief. What a splendid idea! There are only 3 villages in the north, White Marshes, farther north by the western road, Gale Rocks by the northern coast, and creeks in the far east. Bring me news from those places, and you will get my answer. All right, I can do that. Sure, we'll see about that. No guarantees, though. We talk and talk, but I still don't know where you're from, Vertigo. What's your story? Have you lived in Havlevin your entire life? Oh, let's see what our options here. In a way, I know it as well as any other city folk, but every spring I trained in horsemanship in a nearby village. Only for a bit. I was raised in a small village just nearby and moved to the city after I decided to look for luck as a road warden, or my past is already buried. Let's not dig into it. I guess that last one would go with our previously chosen backstory. But it also seems not very like we're trying to make friends with the mayor here, you know. Well, we're good at horsing, I guess. I guess we'll go with the first one. In a way, I know it as well as any other city folk, but every spring I trained in horsemanship in a nearby village. I was just about to ask about it. I couldn't imagine someone building a stable and a paddock in a place where you can't squeeze in a single new house. Your accent is very city-like, that of a merchant. Alright, I saw a weird tree south from here, the one with the altar standing in front of it. She straightens up and raises her chin. You mean Beholder, the guardian spirit of our wetlands. Every fall we bring it our gifts, and in return it provides us with its blessed fruit, the flesh of the forest. She stares into your eyes. It's older than the oldest books and the oldest thoughts. The druids help us honor its sleep and show us how to ask for its help. Neither of these rituals, she scoffs, would be of use for you. Okay, so we were able to type in something for a sacrifice before, but it didn't want our food rations. And then that druid guy that we previously met kind of mentioned needing a great sacrifice that almost sounded like we had to give it our blood, but maybe we can learn more if we get to that druid pagan village. Are the dialogue options in gray not available to us? Oh yeah. So like this one here, we did ask about that. That was about Glossia. And then we took the quest to ask around the other villages about it. So it changed to she's waiting for me to learn more about the raids in the north. So like once we complete that side quest, I'm assuming that'll unlock, and then we can get her decision about that particular subject. All right, thank you for your time. You're in front of the Ape Ale Inn. All right, I approach Eric's, the innkeeper. Even though the counter stands outdoors, it's not rotten or dirty, and you guess that like the other furniture, it's brought inside every night. Eric's approaches you with a smile and leans on its surface with his fists. He's portly and even taller than his neighbors. He's got freckles, short gray hair, and an elegant beard. His long woolen orange tunic has a decorative cut right under the neck and loose braids at the edges. How can I help you, traveler? His accent is heavy, nothing like his wife's. He stomps with a heavy boot and looks around as if he's just waiting to get back to his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from weeding the garden. Any rumors to share? Rumors? Nah, really. I have my own things to worry about. Neighbors keep their own company. Better for everyone to seek help from my wife or the forest speakers, nay, in a mug of ale. So no rumors, but maybe you've heard about someone who may need my help? You say it as we expect travelers to get here any day now. I'll ask around. Come tomorrow. Have you had any interesting guests recently? I don't know. He scratches his beard. There was one vagabond, but he was nae here for long, and did nae do much. A timid fellow, talks loudly, but is afraid of everything, especially the guards. His face is touched by flames, has a big ballista. He says this word with a strange accent, smirking, and a large bird as his beast of burden. I do nae know what to say. He shrugs. He went south and is most likely gone. Well, that is the scavenger. We've already met him. I could use a room? Sure thing, he nods. My kids keep it cleaner than you'd find in the city. Just tell me when you're ready. I should ask about work tomorrow. Do you have any food rations I could buy? Aye, I keep them in the hall. Smoked mutton, a sack of dried fruits, nuts, biscuits. We eat fresh here and pay with work. Coins are nae worth much. When he thinks, his lips move as well. Let's say 1 ring for enough food to fill you for 2 days. In Havlefin, that kind of price would buy you 3, even 4 times as much food. If you're in a mood for spending, I also have something special. Just give me a minute. He goes upstairs and returns with a small wooden box and a hand-long leather sheath. 'Tis a teeth set. You're afraid of what he's going to show you, but when he opens the box, you realize he meant teeth cleaning. See? He points at 3 different compartments. Salt, cloves, and mint. You mix whatever you want here. The 4th holds only a small pestle made of polished stone. And here are the twigs you need. They'll last for months. Seeing you're not convinced, he takes a deep breath. Well, we do nae let outsiders bathe in our creek, but give me 2 dragons and I'll ask my kids to get you in shape. You'll get a tub with soap and rose oil, and they'll wash your clothes and water. I'll cook you something nice, as much as you'll eat. All right, show me those rations first. All right, 2 filling meals, which won't spoil anytime soon, for 1 dragon bone. A bath and dinner for 2 dragon bones. In an hour, you'll get as much food as you can eat, and a proper bath with laundry. And 3 dragon bones will get us a set to help you keep your teeth clean. All right. Oh, I think we're good for now. Thanks. Let's go to Akakios, the trader. See what this person has. The man behind the counter is inspecting a sack of white flour, mumbling to himself and occasionally cursing. The other locals walk away, giving you space to talk trade in peace. Weevils. He points at a little dark blue insect that's trying to flee. Shit me fire. 'Twas ground a few days ago. Nae pies for us tomorrow, looks like. He puts the sack on the ground. I'll take care of it later. A Roadwarden, eh? Eva the mare cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your horse. Strangers are like ghosts to them now. He wears a simple brown robe with no hood, a rope instead of a belt, and modest trim made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him and hangs from him like a bag. He looks like a poor vendor from Havlefin. I like how buying toothpaste is a major event in this game. True. I wonder, I know, the whole, like, bathing in the creek attempt also mentioned, like, we needed, like, 3 other things to be able to do it fully. I kind of wonder if brushing our teeth is one of them. Let's see. All right, let's be friendly. We'll continue being friendly. Oh, did I even read this? He stands sideways to you with legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other one on his hip. He's around 40, short and a bit greasy, with a humble beard and hair. His fingers are unusually long. We'll be friendly. You're a trader, I assume. I guess we'll see each other often. For you, a trader. For my neighbors, the treasurer. Name's Akakios. Everyone brings here what they have in abundance, and I either sell it to travelers or divide it among the workers, builders, artisans. These things here are nae mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels. But I can show you our wares if you want. But do nae ask me for better prices just because you're a traveler. I need to explain myself for every deal I make, or Theus will laugh at me all the way to the pyre. Alright, what can you tell me about Asterion? That Eva, though he was here more than once, he did nae leave much behind. Smelly hoarder. He looks around, then spits on the ground. At least he bought a blade for me. Do you remember what blade it was? Sure, 'twas a special one.
a sickle sword with a tip wider than 'twas at the grip. Long is from the fingertips to shoulders, nay a sword, nay a knife, single-edged, brought his own steel to melt for it.
What's it good for, fencing?
More for cutting bushes, creepers, roots. It will nae fell a tree, but 'tis a fine tool.
He nods to a passerby, but a smile disappears as quickly as it had shown up.
Pathfinders use it. My pa used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it, nuts and mouflons.
So he took it to the wilderness.
He shrugs. Pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast, and bogs in the north, and the heart of the woods. Can nae help you with it?
Do you need any help? I could use a job.
Know what? There's something urgent. I need a medicament for my daughter. Nay that she's hurt or anything.
He raises his open palms, as if to show that he's not holding a knife.
She's a teen, wants to start hunting in the woods. I can nae teach her much, but I'd sleep better with her having a healing potion. You have,
he hesitates,
almost 9 days. Bring me the potion before the last dusk, and I'll pay you 5 dragon rings.
Oh, all right. 5 dragon rings, that sounds good. Where can I find such a potion?
I can think of 2 places. The safer bet is beyond old Pagos, on the mountain of the crazy monks. Crazy and boring, more boring than a mouflon, but they often brew with Numa. You can also head south, east of the crossroads behind Pelt to the north. I've nae been there myself, but you'll find a dolmen out there, as old as the city. And this,
he reaches for his clinking pouch and pulls out a massive iron key,
is meant to open some secret passage there.
How do you know about that secret?
From a merchant. She's from south of Hag Hills. I was meant to pass the key to her friend, but he never showed up.
She didn't want to take the stall after you?
Nah, but that's fine. She hates me. 'Tis better for her to take after her mother.
Your daughter hates you? His low voice sounds like grunting.
Since you have to know, our laws make me admit I was a wife beater, and by my ma own deeds I've lost my family. My daughter has a new father now, and I'm nae allowed to marry again.
As he starts to speak faster, he also wags his finger at you.
But I'd never touch my girl. Keeping her safe is the right thing to do, ever if it does nae make things right.
Oh boy. All right, yeah, that took a bit of a turn I wasn't expecting. All right, and you've been keeping this key at your side ever since?
I kept it with my trinkets and coins, that's all. We were planning to go there for years, but 'tis one of those things that you talk about, nay, do it.
His brief laughter turns into a cough. All right, fine, I'll look for it.
Good, he smiles. Anything else?
Yeah, geez, too much information, buddy. Yeah, we're just trying to get a fucking job here, and this guy's all like, yeah, just like, I'm going around town beating my wife. Like, Jesus, dude. Let's, maybe save that for the second conversation. My God. I don't need furniture or barrels of food. Do you have anything of use for a traveler?
'Tis hard to say, aye? What do travelers need?
He clears his throat and turns away to have a look at his store. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, they carry an assortment of odds and ends. Tools made of wood and stone, pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. It takes him a few minutes to look through the wares. He puts 3 packages on the countertop, and as he unwraps the first one, you recognize what it is by the shape alone.
Tell me this is nae a beauty.
He chuckles and lets you hold the shiny battle axe. The haft is long, but the head is light.
I know what you're thinking. Your eyes say everything.
He praises the weapon loudly, but you barely listen to him. You see your own reflection in the unused blade, as sharp as they get. You're not a smith, but you see not a spot of rust. When you take a swing, it takes hardly any effort. The leather straps holding the pieces together are just decoration, and the handle is as smooth as glass and perfectly fits into your hand. The man chuckles.
You like it, aye? Now, I doubt you can afford it, but do nae worry. That's nae all I have.
I look at the rest of his stuff. By the way, I looked up dolmen. It's a type of tomb. Oh, okay. I had no idea what that was. I assumed a dolmen was like a person or people. But it's a tomb. Oh boy. Oh, there's gonna be freaking monsters and shit in there. I think maybe going in the direction of old Pagos might be a better idea. I mean, we were told to avoid that area, which we probably should for now. Like, maybe if we get better at stuff, then we can go to the danger zone. All right. His long fingers tap against the parchment windows of a lantern. Its frame is cheap, made of oak.
"'Tis glued and 'tis quiet," he says, while shaking it in the air. "They as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in caves without luring all the corpse eaters and goblins. Perfect for a traveler. Just take a look."
Inside the lantern, you find a place for a candle. Not a great match for people living in wooden houses.
"Hide and glue are nae easy to make, but I will nae ask for more than 4 rings."
The last sack is as wide as a saddle and 3 hands tall. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets.
"We usually keep them for traders, but we could use a few dragon rings. And who knows if there's ever going to be a next caravan."
He gives you a long look.
"Interested?"
"Depends on what you want for it." All right, wooden lantern for. We only got 5 dragon coins on us, and we can't afford the fabric or the new battle axe. All right, I bring goods to sell. Do we have anything? He gestures for you to gather your things.
"This junk does nae interest me. We're looking for what we can make by ourselves, like iron or enchanted items. Next time, maybe."
All right, let's pack it on up. Let's get out of here. I leave the square. Let's see, where are we? 4 hours and 15 minutes before dusk. Yeah, we might need to think about sleeping soon, I guess. I head to Bion the tailor. You follow the guard's directions and reach the whitewashed building standing on the western bank next to a small garden of flowers and herbs. It's well kept and clean, with a plain, beaten front yard, in parts covered with sand. Through the open window, you catch a glance at the furniture made of smooth, almost shiny woods with hints of dark, cherry-like red, decorated with carvings of plants. A woman in her 40s is sitting on a wooden bench. The table is covered with fabrics, threads, and needles made of bone and iron. She's sewing a long sleeve to what's going to become a blue tunic. Her movements are quick and confident. Her brown, wavy shoulder-length hair is tied in a wreath-like braid, but other than that, her clothes are simple and inconspicuous. She doesn't have a left leg, but you don't notice any cane. You observe her for a few moments until, without sparing you so much as a glance, she encourages you to speak with a grunt. "I'm looking for a tailor."
"You found one."
Her voice is low, and she doesn't stop her work.
"Name's Bion."
"Could you answer a couple of questions?" The boredom in her voice is palpable.
"I'm nae a bard."
All right, let's see. What kind of clothes you got? I'm interested in a new set of clothes, which we're making all these traders pull out all their items that we are not gonna buy because we don't have much money. She stops her work and looks at you briefly.
I can tell.
You don't hear even a hint of mockery.
But that's a lot of work, and I don't take my work lightly. If I were to give you anything, people would see, and I'll nay let you show them some rags.
And by that you mean your prices are high. You reach for a pouch, and she answers with a nod.
It'll take me a day or so to finish, and a fine fabric. Your city clothes are, she frowns, just fine for the wilderness, I guess. What I'll give you is for the time with lamb meat and mead, nay pathfinding. The longer the outfit you want, the higher the price. Though I'll consider the things people say about you as well.
Fine, let's discuss it. Woo! All right, this is some expensive ass shit. A fancy tunic fitting for a rich city official takes 1 day of work, 25 dragon bones. A fancy robe would make you look like a merchant, takes 2 days of work, 30 dragon bones. A fancy dress, good for a socialite or a diplomat, takes 2 days of work, 35 dragon bones. Each outfit includes shoes, pants, belt, and jewelry. Yeah, we're a good while away from being able to afford any of that. My gambeson needs work? You take it off and point out a few abrasions. The woman follows your finger patiently.
I take from 2 to 5 dragon rings for fixing jackets, but you'll nae get anything more from this one. To get it truly stronger for longer, I need it to be made of better materials, like spider silk.
Tell me more about this spider silk.
'Tis a silk made by spiders.
I meet her eyes. She's the first one to break the silence.
The large ones, they use it to spin webs. It's stronger than thread, but my neighbors do nae walk to the woods nae more. 'Tis getting harder and harder to get any silk.
All right, let me think about it. I didn't know you need special clothes to eat meat. Yeah, what's the deal with that? We just had some mutton with the mayor in our garbage Roadwarden clothes. All right, outfit repairs. In 15 minutes, your clothes will get patched and tidy. Outfit needs no work. Gambeson enhancement in 2 hours. Parts of the thread will be replaced by spider silk. And that's 20 dragon bones, and we need to find the spider silk anyways. All right, good luck. Let's go to the local priests. See what they got for us. You head south of the dead tree in the main square. Before you get to the second thatched building, a large man stands up from a bench and gets into your way. He's close to 50, taller than most people you've seen in your life. Broad-shouldered, his hair and short beard are brown, matching his elegant woolen robe. A thick club is attached to his right wrist with a leather strap. Whoa, hey! Zombie is here. Wow. How's it going? How's it going? Thank you for the raid. Hashtag panic, I raid and run. Well, welcome on in, raiders, and zombie as well. Hope everybody is doing good on this finest of evening / very early morning for me, at least. Also, let me do this. I rarely even remember, but I'm remembering now. If anybody else is in chat and lurking, y'all, should be following Zombie. She's a very, very, very entertaining streamer. Even though it's sadly, it's been a while since I've been able to pop in, usually because of work and whatnot. But great streamer, go follow, do it now. Why are you watching my stream when you could be watching Zombies? Anyways, oh, where am I? Oh, all my stuff is closing. Here we are. All right, where was I? Oh yeah, we're being accosted by this 50-year-old man with a club. Let's see. He left his sandals by his sitting spot.
Many want to speak with our guides and teachers.
He speaks with a solemn, strong voice.
But you're nae welcome here. Turn back, stranger.
Can I know why?
You can.
He swings his polished, heavy weapon.
You're from the outside and can nae be trusted. The boars and slaves of the United Church would crush us if they had a chance. Before we allow you to spy on us, we need to be sure 'tis worth it.
I'm your new Roadwarden. Are you sure that no soul here needs my assistance? His harsh look softens.
We can handle ourselves. If that changes, Elpis will summon you.
Hey, dude, I'm not a spy.
I don't nae believe you.
Dude. All right, buddy, I don't want any trouble here. He shrugs.
Travelers bring their problems onto us. Their will means naething.
So be it. I turn back. All right, we got 4 hours and 15 minutes before dusk. So we got a little time. Let's hit the travel here. How long to even get back? Oh, shit. Okay. 2 hours and 15 minutes to get back to Pelt of the North. All right. I think maybe we should do that. Oh, wait. Before we do that, where is our... Is it the journal? Okay. Quests. Howler's Dell. That's where we're at, right? Okay, perfect. Okay. So let's head back to Pelt of the North, where we can rest up. Then we can head back to the ruined village, pick up the scavenger, take him to Howler's Dell. We'll complete that quest, and either get dragon bones or a jar of his piss. Again. I'm just staring. But that will be, finally, we'll have one of our side quests completed, and then we can continue on exploring. So let's go back to Pelt of the North. It's getting late. I better look for a safe place to sleep. The guard ignores your arrival as you ride in the other hunters practicing archery and fixing their equipment in the courtyard. At this hour, the armorer's workshop is closed. Let's see here. All right, I get off my horse and enter the inn. The open windows fill the hall with refreshing air and the sounds of conversation. The innkeeper is sitting behind the counter contemplating an empty mug. Something bothering you? Oh, sleep. Sleep. Let's see. We have two options here. Sleeping on a bench. Your blanket won't be much of a bed. The staff will keep opening the nearby door, walking around or talking with one another. Sleeping here will be rather uncomfortable. Wow, so we'd actually be not really gaining much. All right, we'll pay one dragon bone for sleeping in a room. A comfy bed with a clean blanket in an isolated chamber. You'll also get a large breakfast, a wash tub with water and soap, and some clothes to wash your teeth. All right, perfect. One dragon bone. Let's go.
Oh, what is this? You hear a thunderous roar. You rise to your feet and rub the sleep from your eyes. The doors are opening. People are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion. Something is on the other side of the wall, trying to get through, and the guards are fighting it off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. Thanks to their light, you see the large, furry paws placed on the top of the wall walk. As far as you can tell, the beast is but a single leap away from getting inside. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright, well, we're a Roadwarden, we gotta help. I need to help them. You look for your gambeson and blade, still a bit foggy in your thoughts, and once you find them, you struggle to get inside of the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you holding a candle. You're a guest here. You're a guest. Stay here, he says without a shadow of hesitation. My team has no time to worry about outsiders. Just after his words, you hear cheerful laughter from the wall. Judging by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons, the beast is fleeing. Well, I shouldn't expect people will need my help all the time. The small room is quiet, and far away from unwanted eyes. You take a calm bath, rest on a soft mattress, look through the window, and enjoy the minutes of safety. In the morning, you find a stool with a large wooden plate bearing an aromatic breakfast, baked artichokes with a weird but tasty roasted lizard. Downstairs, the innkeeper is putting firewood into the stove. He asks if you need anything. All right, what do we need? We have a dice roll for leftovers. All right, let's give it a shot. Any leftovers? Not today, no. Maybe tomorrow. Well, dice roll failed. All right, fine. Lizard and artichoke breakfast. Absolutely delicious. Who doesn't love lizard and artichoke? Let's see. I know we don't have anything he wants to buy. We haven't seen Glossia yet. All right, that's all I need. I go outside. We are on day 2, 38 days before autumn, 15 hours before dusk. All right, let's, do the guards have anything? The guards greet you with polite nods or a casual hello. When the guard in yellow armor gets closer to you with a smile, the brown boar follows her step. What brings you to us? Oh, shit. Let's see if we can hustle them at some axe throwing again. How about some axe throwing? If you think you can handle it, we'll throw 8 times, so it's gonna take us a half hour or so. 4 players, each one bets a coin. The winner takes all. Steal in? I'm ready when you are. Oh, wait. Oh, no. We no longer have our ability for it. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, we'll try it anyways. Between the thudding of the axes, there's plenty of time for casual gossip. After a long series of misses, you finish with 1 point, the second last place. You give the gasping winner your dragon bone. Cheers, he says, but doesn't make a big deal out of it. The lighthearted comments of the other losers lightens up the mood, and the guard in yellow armor approaches you with a smile. Oh. We went in ready to hustle, and we got hustled ourselves. I have a job for your crew. There are some goblins in the nearby ruins that pose a danger on the road. As long as it involves someone paying for it, I'm ready to listen. What do you know about the pack? Without interruptions, you tell as much as you can. Getting rid of them will do the trick, sure. But as long as those buildings ain't razed to the ground, new beasts will move in sooner or later. Though I ain't one to stop you from reaching into your pouch. A brief smile quirks her lips. Now, you need to take care of some things first. Hunters or not, we won't raid a lair blindly. What do you want me to do?
She lists your tasks one by one, in the meantime bending forward to brush the boar. Make sure you've looked around the entire village. My crew will get mad if it turns out that yet another lair's just behind the corner. Then be sure there's no soul around. When we fight, we don't do rescue jobs, and if we do, they cost a lot. Let's see. I'm out. Axe throwing skills have a bad. Yeah, our axe throwing skills have completely disappeared. What a shame. What a shame. The boar grunts and turns around, leading her to its other side. Speaking of which, for you it's gonna be, she squints her eyes a bit, 13 coins, but we'll take some of the loot we find. We won't let go of magic swords and rings just because, not that I expect anything. She straightens up, but who knows? All right, we'll return to it later. We have nowhere close to that money. All right, yeah, I walk away. Let's go to the ruined village. 45-minute travel time. Let's get the our scavenger buddy. I return to the scavenger's camp. The entrance to the scavenger's hideout is open. You see scraps of metal organized into piles, while the old furniture has been dismantled into loose planks and pushed into corners. Hey, roadster. The man looks tired and his beard is sticky, but he smiles at you. If you're ready, I'll start packing the tent. If ye don't want to wait, start putting the iron on your mount. It will be quicker. Just say the word and we can leave. Oh, right. Okay. I know, yeah, he originally wanted to go to Howler's Dell. And then when we initially talked to him, we were like, oh, what about Pell to the north? And I think we kind of convinced him. But Howler's Dell is on our way to further exploration. But it seemed like people were not very happy with him coming back to town. And there was that whole aspect too, where I thought maybe it would be better for him to trade with the innkeeper at Pell to the north to maybe improve our friendship with him. But yeah, now I'm not so sure. I don't know. I guess let's just go to Howler's Dell. That's where he initially wanted to go. Fuck it. Gather your bags. I'm taking you to Howler's Dell. The scavenger keeps asking you to watch out for beasts and wraps the sharper scraps of iron in his cape. Folding the tent and putting it on your horse takes a while, and neither of you can sit down on the large pile of sacks and bundles. There's a long walk ahead of you, but for danger, it won't be much of a burden. Once you clear the room, you walk away. At first, you hear only the birds and horseshoes. Then the man starts to whisper.
Faster, aye? The apes are looking at us.
You don't see any proof of that. Nothing we can do about it. I lead us to the northern road. Yeah, you know, I don't know if I want to take this guy's piss as a reward if these ape men are figments of his imagination. But I guess we'll see what happens here. You move forward, slowed down by having to secure the bundles on Danger's back and carry your own bags. After half an hour, the man asks for a break. Even though you shared your food with him, he's not fully recovered from days of hunger. But the farther away you get from the ruins, the more cheerful and talkative he gets. Mostly speaking about the thing he needs to buy and how much he hated the damn place. Then, the beasts show up. Oh boy. Alright, here we go. I prepare my axe. 2 dragonlings, each about 5 feet long, approach you from the opposite sides, getting ready to charge at you. They lash their tails and screech, but you know that panicking and running away is the worst thing you can do. They're fast, used to chasing their prey near the roads, with a much larger advantage in an empty field than in the forests.
Even on a horse, you could barely outrun them, and your best option now is to hold your ground. The scavenger knows it as well. He fires his crossbow, hitting one of the predators right in the skull. It clumsily falls down without another breath. The other dragonling jumps forward, surprisingly silent. The man reaches for a dagger, not much longer than the monster's teeth. Alright, we can use our attack ability, Force. We got while there's time, I also use a crossbow. I do my best to defend myself. Step aside, I've got this. I move in front of the scavenger, even if it puts myself in danger. Alright, let's try blasting it with a crossbow. You don't have much time to aim, but the arrow still hits the beast's chest. It stumbles in place, takes a few steps away, then turns around rapidly, continuing its slightly slower run. You have already replaced the crossbow with your blade. Alright, well, we've injured it. Maybe we don't need to waste our ability yet. I do my best to defend myself. You prepare yourself to dodge, but the beast surprises you by suddenly changing its target. It jumps aside when it's only a dozen feet away from you, then attacks the soul who appears to be less prepared. Still, you're even faster. Before it sinks its teeth into your companion, you take a wide swing at the dragonling's neck. From top to bottom, it's all it takes. The head flies away and wetly thuds into the ground. The man laughs from shock. Thank ye. He pants heavily. It was way too fast. Without ye, I'd be dead now. I better load the ballista again, aye? You take a moment to judge the situation. Neither of you is hurt, but a not-so-distant howling already reaches your ears. You can't take the dead animals with you. Danger won't be able to carry much more. However, a few claws could be exchanged for a dragon bone or two. Yes, the beasts. We got dragonlings here. All right, let's see. All right, hey, might as well make a few bones for our time here. I cut away one of the monster's paws. Let's hurry. Wolves are gonna catch the smell of blood soon. All right, you picked up a dragonling's paw, and we've made it. We've made it to town. The man breathes heavily, but doesn't ask for a break. Once you get close to the village, he lets out a sigh of relief. That's one soothing view, aye? The guards open the gate quickly and take care of the scavenger's bundles, which Danger welcomes. The man answers a couple of questions and asks if anyone has found his pack bird. After a short conversation, he stretches out loudly and looks at you. Ha! Now I don't have to point my ballista at the door whenever I hear paws on the pavement. Once you mention the reward, his face gets serious. So, like I told ye, if you want coins, you have to come back tomorrow when my pouch gets heavier. But I can and would prefer to give ye the potion that repels 8 men instead. It's useful, but not as much in the south as it is here in the woods. All right. So here it is, the major decision, one of the biggest decisions we've had in this game so far. Do we wait for the 5 dragon bone reward tomorrow and risk him just disappearing? Or do we take a jar of this guy's pee, this guy's urine, to supposedly ward off 8 men that we have yet to see, who may not even exist? Money or pee? Money or pee? What say ye? We need that urine, all right. Dog Nozzle has decided that we are going to claim the urine. I'll take that jar. Ha! I'm glad. He unpacks a large jar made of clay. I'm not gonna lie, Roadster. It's pure troll urine, he chuckles. Don't ask me how I got it, aye? If ye want to scare off some 8 men, use it before they can see ye. Trolls eat them all the time, so they stay away for as long as they can. You imagine that you can feel the warmth of the jar. Well, I won't miss it. I'll be here for at least a couple of days. You'll find me around if ye need me. After all my recent camping, I'm going to spend a few hours kissing this nice strong wall."
He starts to laugh and walks away, waving goodbye. I pack the jar and make sure it won't spill in my bag. All right. Let's go ahead and save. One side quest down at least. All right, what do we even have here? Empress, druids, Gale rocks. All right, well, let's get back out here on the road. Oh, I don't know which way to go. I guess let's head further north. The road is beaten and free of litter. You notice paths between the fruit-bearing trees on your right, and soon after that you ride alongside vast fields of broad beans, almost ready for the second harvest of the summer. Then there are the green hemp plants, taller than you, waiting for a scythe or sickle. The locals keep the beasts at a distance, I guess. Danger's hooves thump loudly on the beaten track. The green bushes, shrubs, and trees prove that the soil here is fertile, yet the plants don't overgrow the road. These crossroads must be busy at times, maybe even patrolled. In the distant west, you can see the mountain peaks dividing the lowlands from the ocean. The road east leads towards the hills, behind which there are unusually tall, dark trees. There's a dense forest in the north, from which you hear croaking of toads. The last path is already known to you. You're surrounded by 4 signposts, all of which seem to be made from the same type of wood, now covered in moss and fungi. Yet, the pictures and letters that cover the nailed boards are nothing alike. Let's see. Let's approach the western signpost. It has 2 planks attached to a single post, both of them nailed with rusty steel. The lower sign is divided in 2 halves. The left edge is engraved with 4 simple shapes, squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. The other edge bears 2 engraved piles, one of them made of horizontal rectangles, the other of inexact circles. You don't recognize the letters between these 2 piles. The upper plank is covered with short words drawn in white paint, and right below them an engraved vertical rectangle with an hourglass inside it. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? So we got piles, roof-like lines, like maybe that's like a village. I don't know. Piles. We got rectangles, shitty circles, more piles, rectangles, hourglass. Let's look at the eastern signpost. The long plank attached with rusted iron nails is almost empty. It bears no words, only a single picture painted with great care. It portrays a city-like gate with a watchtower to its left and right, and a couple of small conifers growing inside and partially behind the towers. Okay. We got the there's like a village, city, town kind of thing. I wasn't expecting reading a sign to be so complicated, right? All right, northern signpost. It's attached with nails made of pointy carved bones and divided into 3 sections covered with small engravings. The part on the left has 3 large squares with roof-like lines hanging above them, no other pictures or words. The other one in the middle has only 1 square, but also a simple horizontal symbol of a fish and a short word beneath it, which you don't recognize. The image on the right has 2 roof squares, but also 2 other images which you recognize easily, a deer and a standing barrel. Okay, so maybe like hunting and fishing is to the north. I don't know. Southern signpost. It's covered with green, blue, and white paint. that portray simple squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. Each square has a large letter inside it, though you don't recognize them. Nevertheless, the pictures are not too old. There are no other words or marks. The plank is attached with a set of wooden wedges. All right. Maybe let's check to the east. That was, yeah, city gate. Okay. All right. I searched the area. The thicket doesn't help. You notice the remains of berries and pears, but most of them are already rotten, or rotting, rather, spread close to the wooden stools on the side of the road. The nearby creek is not impressively deep, but the beaver dam, for some reason taller than you, makes it wide and waters the surrounding soil. A few steps away from the southern signpost, you find something sticking out of a shrub. It's a moist plank covered by fungi. You try to move it with a stick and a gloved hand. After a minute or so, you confirmed it's an abandoned sign covered with green letters and colorful pictures of flowers and trees. I try to find out where the old sign used to be attached. The southern post is the only one with holes left by nails. Okay. Let's search some more. After another few minutes of disturbing the local fauna, you're sure there's nothing more to be found. Okay, before we do any of that, we're... Okay, let's go over here. No, how do I, shit. Can I not? Oh, the beholder. Okay. I think this is where we left the fishing trap. Let's approach the altar. Let's walk away. Roots. No? I thought this was... Where did we put that fishing trap? I don't think... Maybe it was over here? No. Well, we may have lost the fishing trap. All right, let's go east, I guess. Let's see what's this way. The corridor of leaves and gray rocks leads you to a gate large enough for a wagon, held together by a wooden bar. The planks and rocks are covered with claw marks left by various monsters, but they weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and the piercing rains. A large man covered in shadows is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hoarse, distrustful. "You lost? I don't know, you mug." All right, let's go ahead and save scum here. I think it's been a while since we threw out a joke. Let's be playful. Use a joke or a witty comment. Better remember this, mug friend. I'm gonna stay around for a while. You know, I will say this. The joking options in Phantasmagoria 2. As hilariously unfunny as they were, might actually be better. We have the worst jokes in this game, absolutely. We are clearly this dark past that we decided to have before we became a Roadwarden was as a failed stand-up comedian, and that is why we are now out wandering for very little money in great danger from monsters and whatnot, because we got driven out of Havlevin and all their comedy clubs. We got banned from all of them for being very unfunny. All right, I introduced myself.
I will. I'm good with faces. The stuff you have, that ass.
That ass?
Whoa!
He points at your horse.
Ye might as well scream, I'm not from here.
A pause.
I'm armed, ye know.
He lifts a loaded crossbow and sticks it out of the shadows.
But I'm no enemy, just on duty, guarding. We can talk if ye want, I've time.
He leaves the tower. He's wearing a black gambeson, so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. It tells a story of claws, thorns, and improvised repairs. The hole in the man's hemp pants reveals a scraped knee. It's hard to tell his age through his exhausted, sleepy eyes, a short, unkempt beard, and a bandage horizontally covering his ears and the spot that used to be his nose. There's clotted blood in his brown hair and mud on his clothes and brown neck. Despite all of this, he's of a huge shell with wide shoulders and thick legs. He stands upright, observing you with curiosity.
So, a warden? Ye new to the job?
Yep, pretty new.
Ye chose a shit place then. This gate here?
He places his hands on a brick as if to prove it exists.
It's older than me. All there?
He points behind him.
Wilds and beasts. My tribe built this place to keep them away from us. And us from them.
He scratches the bandage on his cheek.
Name's Quintus. From old Pagos. Been there?
Not yet.
So ye don't know. It's west from here, behind the crossroads. But it's touched by sickness. We used to send one soul here every morning and escort them back before nightfall. But some days ago, no one came for me. I spent a night here, sneaking wolf shits almost got me.
He picks up an almost empty water skin from behind a parapet and takes a sip.
I went home by myself only to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since.
All right, so Old Pagos is to the west then. Okay, that's good to know. What do you know about the plague?
Not much. It kills. That's all there is to know. My tribe's smart, locking the gate. The right gave them strength.
Shouldn't you look for a real shelter? He trembles, his eyes widen.
Someone has got to stay at the gate. The villages in the east don't know about the illness. They may try crossing the woods, hit the closed gate while fleeing some wolves and stuff.
He rubs his dirty neck.
And I also can't leave the gate open. It's like a dam for monsters. If all I can do is choose the way to die, this is it, with my duty fulfilled.
You could at least spend the nighttime in one of the villages. He adjusts his jacket by shaking his shoulders, making the buckles jingle.
I'm not a beggar, and the villages in the north won't help me for more than a day or two. I've got no dragon bones, just this little ibex.
He pats his crossbow.
Old Pagos is by itself. We don't look for kind folks.
He thinks for a moment.
I'll just wait. I'll get back home once the plague's done, or before winter.
You look at his disfigured face. He may be a bit too proud, but knows more about the locals than I do. He glances at danger.
Ye understand, I'm sure. Wardens are souls of duty.
Let's see, about this gate.
Here, see?
He points at the long, twisted rope that hangs from an iron hook.
I could climb down and remove the beam on the other side. You'll take down yours. Ye need at least 3 hours to get through the woods. He touches the stomach and takes a deep breath. But I need ye to give me aught first. What do you want? I'm hungry. Bring me some rations, maybe. Dried meat, apples, nuts. Maybe. He sizes you up. 4 meals. Then I'll help ye with the gate. Alright, sure, we'll bring you some food. Thanks. His smile may be disfigured by his wounds, but is as warm as his voice. I'll take any help I can get. Alright, well, yeah, we'll come back later, I guess. Let's I guess head towards Old Pagos. You cross a clean, shallow, yet wide creek that runs south, then follow the uphill path squeezed between the hills and the lush forest. You spend a good couple of minutes passing a haunting meadow filled with dozens, maybe 100, cut down trees, now overgrown by bushes and grass. You can't think of another time when you've seen a clearing of such a size. Alright, let's see. Oh, don't like the sound of that. Seems dangerous. If this goes on, the animals will join forces to strike down whoever is responsible for this. The locals are surely ambitious. I wonder how far they can push it. Yeah, seems dangerous. If this goes on, the animals will join forces to strike down whoever's responsible for this. Once the clearing ends and turns into a corridor of trees and hills, you stop your horse. There's a monster in the middle of the road, reaching out with its long arms to grab and devour fruits and leaves from tree crowns, chewing them without haste. It's standing on its hind legs and leaning on a thick tail, and there isn't much hair on its gray skin. You see its impressive muscles. The beast is 3 times the size of a human, and while each move it makes is slow, its long claws and the ease with which it breaks one of the branches makes you think that a single swing would be enough for it to pierce through your jacket, or just as likely that it would simply break your bones and send you into the air. Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers. Okay, so this is a pebbler, finally. Once they get used to an unfenced farm or a forest garden, getting rid of them can be a huge issue. There aren't many blades able to cut through their thick skin and bones, and a single mistake may put them into a furious charge, encouraging them to look for human dwellings which they can tear down in revenge. The beast doesn't give you as much as a glance, but also doesn't move away. The best you can hope for is that it's going to walk away on its own. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe later. Oh boy. Alright, that does not sound good. Facing it in a fight would end up badly. I return to the crossroads. Alright, what do we got? 4 hours and 45 minutes before dusk. Let's go north. Oh, wait, nope. We gotta hit travel. That's right. Some parts of the roads lead uphill, some downhill. The forests are lush, but not too dark. The few foraging deer and boars keep their distance, and the birds are disinterested in your presence, singing cheerfully and preening their feathers. Sounds of an ongoing hunt reach you from the east, but none of the nearby creatures seem bothered. Once you get farther north, the colorful meadow reveals tall hills on the other side of the stream, but the road leads through a valley. There's a gentle plume of smoke coming from one of the mountains in the west. It doesn't look like a place on fire. Maybe there's a settlement in the mountains. Let's go find out. The road leads to a gentle creek filled with the buzzing of flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. You don't spot any critters among the tall meadows, tree branches, or rocky slopes. Seeing the shapeless, dark vortex of wings, danger snorts. You're currently on the southern bank. And 3 hours and 45 minutes before dusk. Oh boy. All right, we're running out of time for the day. Let's see. I look for a different route. I ride forward with a blazing torch.
It will take some time, but I'll wrap myself up with every piece of clothing I own. I don't care. I just hurry danger. All right, let's blast on through with the torch. You move away from the creek, get on your feet, and unpack the tinderbox, the wooden stave, and the set of rags, as well as the oil. After you assemble a torch, you sit down on the ground, preparing the flint and linen charcloth. Decades ago, before the southern invasion, people used fire strikers made of thick steel, but all you have is a cube-like piece of harsh pyrite. It's not ideal, but good enough for a couple of sparks. Holding the fire, you get back in the saddle. You swing your weapon left and right. There isn't as much smoke as you expected. All right, let's put it to the test. Once you get closer to the ford, countless creatures beset you, filling your eyes, mouth, and nose, hitting you like a squishy, buzzing hail. You ride forward blindly, instantly forgetting about your preparations, trying to get out of here as fast as you can, but the insects are sticking with you for much longer than the smoke. It takes a few minutes for you to escape. The red marks on your skin start to burn. You get down to put out the torch by rubbing it against the beaten track. Danger swishes its tail angrily as it gives you a reproachful look, pinning its ears back to its head. Unless you find an easier way to protect yourself, the insects will keep slowing you down. Well, that didn't help much. All right, for most of the time you're surrounded by yellow meadows. The trees on your left get sparser, while the few lonely birches on your right still bear signs of tapping, marked with knife cuts, tied with cords. Some of them still carry wooden vessels, as if they were simply abandoned maybe last spring, maybe before that. A few of the trees are already dried out, and the winds managed to knock them down. As you get closer to the crossroads, the ground gets muddy. The beaten path avoids the wetlands as much as it can. The screeches and hisses mix with the buzzing of insects, and as you reach a small pond, there are signs of blood on its bank. The air is moist and heavy and has a hint of rotting meat to it. It may still be early, but it's better to avoid the bogs when nighttime approaches. Such places rarely have fine roads. Okay, so we can't really do that yet. Bogs are darker than forests. The local creatures start their hunt up to an hour earlier. Oh shit, 2 hours and 45 minutes before dusk. I was hoping for a freaking town or settlement or something that we would get to. I don't even know if we have enough time to make it back to a town at this point. We're pretty far in. The trees and bushes are sparse here, growing from the barren grassland. Some of them bear late summer fruits. A group of wayfarers is spread around the broken signpost and the abandoned cart. They're skinny but healthy and are standing upright. They're wearing humble, dim gambesons on top of their hemp tunics and pants, all of them worn, in some cases undyed, while others are dark green or brown. 4 of these individuals wear cloaks, carry lit lanterns, and are armed with spears, bows, and stone maces. On their necks, wrists, and belts, you spot small talismans, fangs, bones, wooden beads, leather straps. There's also the 5th figure standing a bit in the back, with lowered shoulders. Unlike the others, they're hooded, and in such a manner that you doubt they can see anything other than their boots. Their clothes are shabby, torn, but your eyes mostly run to their club. A bow as long as its owner is tall and as thick as a leg, resting with one end on the ground. You get closer and the person raises the weapon with just one arm, but another traveler gestures for them to stop, and they do so right away, freezing in place. Alright, I stay in the saddle just in case. The man behind the gesture doesn't approach you, just nods. Bogs aren't safe for us, by even less a stranger. 'Tis evenfall, and far from roofs. Better keep moving, you'll find a inn soon. You try to digest his thick accent. He's broad-shouldered with a large belly, but the scars on his face sculpt an image of someone who's earned their share of food with many skirmishes.
He doesn't reach for his weapon and pushes one of his companions closer to the cart. She kneels by an empty box and looks inside it. The man observes you with little curiosity, holding his lantern high in the air. I think these hunters or whatever may appreciate a good joke, right? Let's be playful. Let's be joking. Let's be witty. Let's show them that Havlevin was wrong to cast us out from the comedy clubs. Nice place for a camp. The air is a bit smelly, though. All right, sure. He gives you a piercing look. Stupid talk. No soul makes a fire here. And 'tis not so bad the air. Means the woods breathe, grow. What'd be a bad year without the smells? He looks at his companions, who simply shrug and spread to take a look at the cart. All but the one with the bow, who doesn't move an inch. I've no time to loaf, and no patience to bother. You need something, be quick. I look at the hooded person. What's up with this one? He smiles, but you notice that the others keenly observe you. Nothing is up. They're keeping us safe. That's an impressive club. One of the men, now turning over a moldy plank with his boot, giggles. This is one way to put it. Their Numa's strong. Is this your cart? In a way, my neighbor's. You then hear one of the women proudly claiming that it belongs to her uncle. But the man doesn't allow you to dig into the topic. We used to carry wood and plants from here to the village, but eventually there was not a thing to carry, and 'twas left for another day. 'Tis trash now. What makes this place so special? He sighs. It used to be a forest garden. My great-grandparents started it to harvest various fruits and sap from birches, but those were other days and other roads. There's nothing of value left, and no time or strong folks to take care of the land. He then stretches out and gets closer to the signpost, using his spear as a walking stick. Well, stay safe, stranger. He raises his voice and addresses his companions. We wasted too much time on this froth. Time to get back. The others prepare their own weapons and join their guide. The one with the bow stays silent until a gentle gesture commands them to follow. They keep up with the rest of the group, dragging the club behind themselves with remarkable strength. Alright, after a few more days, there may be fruits and other plants to pick here. We prepare for the journey. Okay. Yeah, let's save since we are running out of time here. They mentioned an inn nearby. And we have a seek shelter here. 2 hours and 45 minutes. Alright, you leave the wetlands behind. The pebble road runs through the hillside, with tall grasses and rock faces above you and dark, lush forests below. Chunks of this path were shaped by human tools, who knows how many centuries ago. To widen it, the builders dug through the uneven boulders and used rocks and logs to fill up the cavities with thousands of rocks, each one smaller than your fist. While you have a good view of what's happening between the trees on your right, the bushes and shrubs grow so densely between them that you can't imagine entering these woods on your own. Farther south, there are plumes of smoke. A settlement, most likely, hopefully. Let's go. Alright, at the top of the hill you reach a stone wall, a quiet place with no smoke coming from behind it. You look inside and see glimpses of a peaceful ruin. While the main road is beaten and easy for hooves to trod, the destroyed gate and the remains of the front yard have almost been reclaimed by the short grasses. You seek any suspicious movements, but the place seems to be free of inhabitants larger than a falcon. The air is fresh and the wind shakes the tree crowns gently. Alright, I enter the yard. The hamlet could be a hunter's shelter, a military outpost, or a storehouse for traders, but you spot no human trails. The damaged door and gate are years old, soggy and moldy, and judging by the squirrels, birds, and the animal feces you see in the grass, the place is but a part of the wilderness. The roof collapsed only a few years back, turning into food for mushrooms. The outer wall looks generations old, but it used to be maintained. Some of its materials came from different times and areas. Alright, let's check out behind the building. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Uh-oh. We may have fucked up here. Alright, the chaos sparks right after you approach the tree stump. The dusk fox's growls sound like a mix of an obnoxious bird and an infant. One of the animals standing only a few feet away from you is jumping and showcasing its tiny sharp teeth and a raccoon-like black mask on its little head. The animal, with its thick brownish-gray fur, seems more stout than any red fox. The second loud creature jumps onto a table made of a halved trunk. Unlike the first one, it has a brighter golden fur. It bends one of its forelegs, observing you with its dark eyes. Not furious nor scared, rather sad and protective. Its growl turns into a miserable whine. The beasts are not even waist high, but their number may be an issue. There's yet another sound coming from behind you, and even more from the bushes nearby. No time to wait. I kick one of them as quickly as I can. I need to block their charge. I raise my hands and prepare. All right. This sounds like a time where we should use our ability, I think. It shouldn't be hard to dodge their attack. I'll keep myself safe and take a better look at the situation. You take a quick glance and evade the creature in front of you as it tries to bite your leg. Then you take a wide swing to scare away the third larger creature. It was standing right behind you, and while loud, it's lumbering on its paws. The noises from the bushes belong to little pups, most likely harmless, though they are doing their best to imitate their guardians. Alright, like, clearly they're guarding their little animal kids, right? They're just being protective. I don't know if I don't know how well running for it would work. I'm not sure how fast they are either. Plus, we're not on our horse. Anyways. Alright, I need to block their charge. I raise my hands and prepare myself to strike back. You step back as the fox in front of you jumps at your chest. You hit it with a precise kick, sending it into the air. It lands on all fours. Before you decide to run after it, the golden creature catches your forearm with its teeth, unable to pierce through it. Its weight makes you lose focus, giving enough time to the third opponent to reach you. Still, you do manage to avoid its bite, scaring it away as you swing your leg. The animal moves away in panic. The dusk foxes spread. The two pups keep their distance, piercing your ears with its yelps. The protectors triumphantly growl at you, warning you to withdraw. Alright, I guess let's run for it. You pass the weaker fox and run towards your belongings, encouraging the beast to chase you all the way to the gates as they growl with determination. For now, they stay in the shelter filled with pride. You in danger take a few steps away. Okay, we can't get, alright, we gotta, shit. Alright, let's get out of here. You're squeezed between the hills and the forest. The only larger beast you spot is a single saurian basking on a boulder, lazily observing you from a safe distance. Your ears catch the howls coming from the north, loud and long, and as you keep an eye on the rock ledges, you almost miss the drastic shift in the landscape. The forest turns into a lake, and the few plants growing next to the road mostly bear fruit. The road is not as reliable here as it was in the hills. Parts of it are a bit muddy, and the puddles disturb your ride. Maybe the locals will maintain it before it gets swallowed by the lake. Come on, town. Oh, that does not look like a town. Hour and 45 minutes before dusk. Oh my god, we are so fucked. The deep, loud yells of howlers are piercing your ears, concealing any other sound in the area. They're sitting on branches and in tall grass, not really trying to hide. Their thick black and gold furs cover their entire shells, aside from the charcoal black faces with roundish flat noses and wide nostrils. The younger members of the pack are about the size of your mount's head, but the larger ones would be chest high if it wasn't for the fact they walk on all fours. Their long tails are like an additional arm, helping them climb, hang from the branches, or hold food while they eat. They aren't particularly muscular, but when they form their pink lips into the shape of a cup to release their howls, their mouths are so wide they could fit your entire arm inside. As you listen to the shouts, you reach for your head. You feel a weird itch, but somehow you can't scratch it. Keeping my distance, I take a look at the hide behind the boulder. The whitish raw hide covers the grass like a blanket surrounded by paw prints. The howlers don't wait for you to approach it. One of the larger ones jumps on the ground, leaning on its hands and challenging you with its gaze. It has rather blunt teeth. Let's see. I try to scare the howlers away. The monkeys may try to attack me, so I grab... Yeah, let's grab and run. You stretch out your legs, then dash ahead. At first, the monkeys move away from with a few unconvinced yells, but then those from above start to howl, even deeper than before, and you feel as if your guts are starting to move, hitting against each other. You get dizzy, and soon the pain enters your skull, as if you're getting hit by a smith's hammer, time and time again. Yet you manage to stay calm and focused on your goal. The larger creatures try to cut your path, but being on the ground, they can't keep up with your legs. Without stopping, you grab the rawhide, then carry on, waiting for a few heartbeats before you change direction rapidly, now getting closer to danger. The largest beast leaps from behind a tree and lands right next to you. Its hit flings you back. You crush into the ground and scrape against the beaten rock, pushing your jacket to its limits. Your side hurts, but you get back on your feet, still holding the blanket. Your mount snorts and walks away, ready to flee. All right, I chase after it. By the time you reach the saddle, the beasts have already abandoned their pursuit, though they still shout angrily. Danger is more than ready to flee. Its ears are held back, nostrils wrinkled. You wonder if it suffers from the howls. You ride away and take a few breaths, then inspect the rawhide. The wet, torn blanket is worth as much as a bread crust. Still, it's not rotten. If the owner is around, they may recognize it. All right, we ride forward. The lakeside is filled with the chirping of cicadas and crickets, as well as the roaring of beasts from the northern hills. Farther down the road you see tall yellow grasses interwoven with flowers and bumblebees, while the peaceful water shines just as much as the wings of dragonflies. This road is often traveled, and the clatter of hooves carries far. Thanks to the vast field of view, the creatures hiding in the meadows are unlikely to jump on an animal as large as danger. In the distance, you see a palisade and a large building set on the side of a crossroad. Once you get closer, you hear conversation from behind a wall. Two men are arguing about if they really just heard a horse. Oh, God, please let us stay here. It is almost nighttime. All right, there's no signpost anywhere nearby, so I better ask for directions. Okay, this looks like we could probably stay here, hopefully in some way.
Please, please, please. Let's see here. All right, danger carries you towards the open gate on its own, welcoming an opportunity to rest by pushing out the air loudly through its nostrils. A nearby wooden pen won't offer much space for a horse, but should be enough for a grazing and a nap. As you dismount, two men get up from the front stairs. Their clean-shaven faces reveal that they're in their early 20s. The first one is taller than you, broad-shouldered, and wears light brown pants and a darker jacket, most of them made of leather. With an inviting smile, he gets up and moves to open the enclosure. His steps are heavy and slow, but every movement is marked with care, ensuring he won't knock down anything or anyone. The second man looks as different from his colleague as the sun from the moon. He's usually short and wears a heavy cloak made of black fur, so large it could cover his entire shell. He opens the door of the building, hides his hand, and peeks into the room. Foggy! His voice is shrill and unconcerned. A messenger, come! I take off some of my bundles, let my horse rest. A hanging barrel sways in the wind, marking the place as an inn or tavern. All right, let's go. The building resembles a merchant's house from Havlevin, whitewashed and with oiled, elegant wooden beams. The fragile walls are high enough to avoid floods and snow, but you have no doubt that a troll, or even a pebbler, could easily break through them. The palisade is short, has hardly any support, and has no walkway for crossbowmen. Hardly enough for even a makeshift hamlet. Yet, it's the open harbor that makes you uneasy. Aside from the fish, any creature, aquatic or not, could just walk into the yard undisturbed. The path is covered with paw prints and claw marks. Alright, better not to leave danger outside during the night. Alright, a black and white bird swoops into the water, then flaps its wings and takes off with a silver, twitching creature in its talons. The large man clears his throat, and, "Oh, what have we here? Coming from afar, friend? Are there now horses and howlers?" His voice is stentorian, close to a shout. You vaguely recognize his accent as one found at the city harbor. Well, I think this might be time for another joke. Maybe our hilarity will get us a good discount at this inn. So let's use a joke or a witty comment for an introduction. I laugh. Far, far away indeed. You can't see it from here. How our character has not just been murdered yet. I do not understand. He puts his hand to his forehead and pretends to look out for something above the lake. But I do see well enough. The city hides in your voice. A long way you had. You hear heavy footsteps. A woman shows up in the doorway and looks at you from the top of the stairs. She's even more towering and stout than her son, the man who just welcomed you, with a massive chest and a pear-shaped face with a prominent chin. Her movements are composed and confident. She may be older than 50, with a mixture of gray and dark blonde hair. She has only one arm, the left one, notably muscular and with a hand so large it could likely chop off Danger's head with a single strike or crush yours like a berry. Through the slit of her robe made of creamy worn fur, you spot her trunk-like legs. She runs her eyes over your blade armor and mount. Her lips form into something of a smile, distorted by the scar that runs through her mouth. The tall guy looks a lot like her. He spreads his arms, forming a chain between you and her. Meet Foggy, friend. Ma, the rider, has come to us from Havlevin. Such long way. His powerful voice turns timid, and he keeps turning his head from left to right and back. I bet you're hungry, aye?
The woman looks at him with amusement, then glances at your palfrey. If you're after food, I hope you know how to hunt. The land here is barren for us, but it's a feast for boars, squirrels, and sparrows. She vaguely stretches out her hand. What brings you to Foggy Lake, love? Just stopping by? Her voice is hoarse, like that of a traveler who spent too many autumn nights in cold tents, yet carries a hint of motherly concern. I close the animal pen behind me and head towards the stairs. You won't find another shelter in this part of the Dragonwoods, especially not the creeks. She scratches her broad chin with sausage-like fingers. You drink? Time for some more fucking comedy. I make a single loud clap and rub my hands together. I wouldn't dare to insult your hospitality. I can't even with this game. Her brief, powerful laughter is enough to scare away the birds from above the... it worked! Someone appreciated our comedy. She laughed. Perhaps we can open up our own comedy club here at Foggy Lake, where they appreciate good comedy. Her brief, powerful laughter is enough to scare away the birds from above the lake. Your mount lets out a fearful snort. You have to visit creeks, dear. They will love you there. Come, share a story with me in a mug. Without waiting for your response, she walks inside. The tall man takes a deep breath. Go ahead. We'll take care of your horse. He encourages you with a gesture, and by that he means we won't do anything with it, adds the man in black fur. Whenever his screechy words follow the deep voices of his companions, he sounds like a brat. We won't be feeding or washing beasts that aren't going in a stew, but we'll keep an eye on it. They find new spots to rest at the side of a boat and a stool near the palisade. All right, without another word, I go up the stairs. All right, the narrow segmented window shutters let in a lot of light without letting the beasts inside. The air is humid but carries not a hint of putridity. The heels of Foggy's boots makes her steps thunder even though the planks don't creak. Make yourself at home, she says without looking at you, heading to the trapdoor in the corner. I'll just grab a little something. Your ears catch the screeches of hunting birds and the wind that leaks through the windows, but other than that, the room is quiet. All right, let's investigate the main hall. The room is crammed with stuff. The bear pelt on the ground would be a nice resting spot, but the place doesn't look like a real home. No chests, no cabinets for clothes, no toys or tools for simple crafts that would fill the time during rainy evenings. Living with so many windows in winter would be a struggle. One could clear this place in one morning and move all that's worth saving onto a single wagon. The only thing of exceptional value are the cauldron made of pricey steel and the hanging head of an insect-like monster. Its mandibles don't move. The dim eyes seem intact, and its armored head tells a long story of survival through scratches and cuts. All right, let's check the basement. The meager light hinders your view. There are dozens of barrels, sacks, stone tools, bowls, and pieces of roasted fish or bird meat. Foggy notices you but doesn't say anything. She looks for something among a bunch of bottles. There's a couple more animal trophies placed on the top of the barrels and leaning against the walls. Fangs, claws, monster heads, and a lizard skin. Quite a collection. All right, let's see where the ladder leads. You climb up the simple rope ladder and reach the attic. It smells like a haystack. The floor is covered with animal furs, bags, and clothes. There's a soul sitting in the corner, a bearded man in his 20s. who has only the right hand, though unlike the tavern keeper, he has kept the rest of his arm. His sleepy eyes observe you without a word. After he greets you with a nod, he starts to put on his boots. All right, let's sit down at the table and wait for the keeper's return. You take a glance at the blood on the table, the scattered yellow feathers, and a bowl of guts and talons. You find yourself a clean stool. Foggy shows up soon, smiling, holding 2 cups in her hands, a bottle in her fingers, and a cloth under her shoulders. She puts everything on a stool and wipes the table clean. "Forgive the mess, just part of the job," she explains without a hint of apology. "I'd rather dress birds in the yard, but the blood lures beasts. Sometimes the folks from creeks bring us meals, but we need to take care of ourselves." She throws the bloody cloth back into the bucket, making a splash, then sits down on the stool, making it look like it was made for a doll. She rests her elbow on the table and looks you in the eyes. Her voice is warm yet intrusive. "So, who am I dealing with?" All right, I introduce myself. The bottle removes its seal seemingly by itself. The wax floats in the air briefly, then lands on the table gently. Without a word, she pours a thick liquid into the cups with her only hand, but doesn't offer you your drink yet. All right, she's holding out on us. Let's see. I'm trying to learn more about the peninsula. A tavern seemed like a fair shot. She sighs and grabs her cup. It looks like she could crush it with just 2 fingers. "I don't see what's in it for me, my dear. I'm sure you'll find those who crave a pair of ears to fill it with gibberish, but I run this place to get more from it than I put into it." She places the second cup in front of you. It's made of dim brown wood, humble, wide, and short. Its surface is cold, rough, and elegant. In Hovlivin, such vessels are often ornamented with metalwork from bronze to gold and bear all sorts of carvings and pictures. What would you like in return? Her grin makes you think of a hungry wolf. "Now we speak in the same tongue. Just be sure to act rather than talk. I have a little thing on my soul that you could take care of. It's not a hard task, but not something I'd trust the boys outside with." She glances at both entrances. "We can talk about it later. Away now, go ahead, enjoy your drink." You raise the cup to your nose. You smell flowers, yeast, and hops. The liquid is golden on the edges, but resembles red amber in the center. It's as thick as an herbal medicament. You take a look at your companion, seeking a hint of what's expected of you. In some places, people gulp down their mead, but your vessel allows you to appreciate the aroma. The huge keeper smiles and takes a sip. You follow her lead, allowing the drink to pass your lips. It's warm, hiding none of its subtleties. Drinking mead is a never-ending conflict between holding the taste in your mouth and saving yourself from the tormenting sweetness of honey. Yet the flavors of flowers are just as present, too difficult to capture just yet. Foggy leans forward with an elbow resting on the table. "Well, for me, it's a lazy evening. At least the rains spare us, so nicely holding off till the evenings." Let's see, what's the story behind this place? It can't be more than a few years old. "It's our 3rd summer under the roof of Foggy Lake, but the palisade is older. Used to be a camping spot for bird catchers from creeks, and there are fish here that don't swim in our streams. When we were but newcomers in the north, these lands were hard to bend, but beasts got used to us with time." A melancholy crawls into her eyes. She observes the mead in her cup. "Every year or so, we added something new. The rocks for a campfire, some stools, a fence, a firewood shed, a boat. At one point, we bought the lumber from Hawaii marshes and built a cabin like the one on the Eastern Road. More folks started resting here, even traders from Gale Rocks and Old Pagos. A plenty fine spot for an inn, aye? Her smile is warm. I'm building my home from nothing, you could say, and not for the first time. How about you? Does any of it sound tempting?
Let's see. Yeah, that's something I can ask myself after I've saved up some dragon bones.
I used to be like that, waiting with decisions until I had no other option. But when nights are colder, it's good to think you're getting closer to your goal, to something you can name. Her eyes turn absent. How do you stay safe from the beasts? You're completely open from the lake. Quick legs, love. Her brief yet thunderous laughter makes you flinch. We don't leave any food outside, but our cauldron smells. Every now and then something scary shows up. We lock ourselves in here for days if we have to. Our windows help us keep an eye on the yard, better than leaving the hamlet to goblins. You mention that having no wall from the lake is quite a risk. She nods in agreement and takes another sip. We don't bring children and old folks around, but this part of the peninsula is not so bad, at least in sunlight. Not much food growing or running around unless you can live on fish and birds. And the folks of creeks are great hunters. The greatest around, but isn't there a harbor in the city as well? How do you keep the creatures away? Let's see.
They're used to avoiding Havlevin. The guards and sailors make it too dangerous for them.
See, that's what I hope for. With enough time and crossbows, walls can only get safer. I just have to play it smart and take some risks. So far, it's working.
You seem to be into some expensive drinks.
The pricey ones are gifts I received or treasures I found when I was young. I also bought a few, I like to offer something unusual to the wealthier or more promising guests. She tilts her cup. I dabbled with some recipes myself. I've plenty of brewing tools, though I can name maybe half of them. Still, from ales to hard drinks, I had some successes.
Any interesting beasts you hunt for?
Oh, I hunt for nothing, she smirks. Not since I lost my arm, and the boys outside are not made for it either. They've no drive to fight, you see, and grew up to be wimps. They sometimes club down a hare, but we're all about foraging and bird traps now. The folks in creeks do the real hunting, she adds after a pause. Runners, mouflons, rats, sometimes a buffalo or a saurian. We have no soil for fields, so game meat is all we have left. She stretches out, getting taller. Do you hunt often?
Let's see. I guess, if I'm about to starve, I don't enjoy killing.
You've picked a rough trade for yourself, then. I used to like it. Hunting, sure, but even more so crushing the undead. I even cut down a few bandits for a good pay. But now, when my dumb ape of a son goes on a longer trip, my heart pounds like a hammer. She thuds her clenched fist against her chest. I couldn't go on like this. Bandits also have mothers,
What brought you north? You don't look like someone who spends their life cleaning tables.
Once you burn enough dead friends and relatives, clean tables start to look plenty tempting. She leans forward and takes another look at her bottle, sealing it with an approving nod. My ma and pa were both big and strong. One time they saw me sitting on this kid, twisting his arm, so they started to teach me. Staff duels, running, lifting barrels and rocks. Thankfully, the army chieftain said I wasn't disciplined enough. She rubs the scars on her forehead. So I did a lot of things. Escorted some merchants, joined a group of adventurers, hunted for bounties, guarded a village temple. The last memory makes her voice gloomy. Not all of these things make me proud of myself. She smells the mead in her cup, but doesn't take a sip. I moved here only after I lost my arm. When the folks were fleeing the invasion, I took my Ilan, a casket of dragons, and joined a more organized group. Arm or not, I still have a fierce punch. She lets out a pleased grunt. I was worth keeping around. Her voice can't hide that she's delighted to carry on with her tale. Now that the years are catching up with me, and even more so with my back, I need to build myself a decent shelter. I crave no adventures, but I'm happy to hear stories from other restless souls. In the meantime, I'll practice this little trick. She points at the cauldron in the middle of the room and starts to make circles with her finger. The ladle mimics the movement, mixing the stew for another minute or two. That's also good for my back. Ah, so she's got some magic. Our innkeeper lady here has definitely got some magic. All right, I'm going to save right here. I feel like this conversation might be going on for a while. And I'm also thinking we'll probably going to end the stream for the day. Slightly short, but only by about 20 minutes or so. But combination of being tired since I've been up since 5 a.m. and it is now 1:53 a.m. The next day. Plus, I don't know how much more reading my voice can do right now. My God, yeah, I'm definitely feeling it a little more now that we made it to this little in village town lake area. So I need to give that a little bit of a rest, I think. But yeah, we've made some progress in this. We've completed one side quest. We've explored multiple places. We even got into a brief monster fight before we kind of got out of there. Yeah, so I think it's going good. We'll probably be back in a couple of days or so, as usual. And of course, we're going to continue on with Roadwarden. We got 38 days to complete all of our tasks, which probably is not going to happen. And that's also assuming we don't get killed along the way. Let me, think we'll raid out. Let me see who is on currently. Oh, okay, there we are. All right, I think we will raid over to Catlink, a bigger streamer that I enjoy quite a bit. I know she's in the middle of learning 50 indie horror game speed runs. It looks like she is playing The Closing Shift, which I'm assuming is a Chilla's art game. Because I know she mentioned previously going through those, learning speed runs for them. So we'll raid over there. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out, for popping in, for lurking.
Thanks again to a zombie for the raid earlier. I really appreciate it. And hope everybody has a good night or day wherever you're at in the world. And we'll see you in a few days. So long, everybody. Bye.